Chapter 219. Reunion Mink vs. Baby Duel 3. I am Big Sister's beloved. Move aside. Baby roared, determined to protect his position. If you are so capable, let's duel. Whoever wins will be the boss from now on. The little silver mink had a devious smile on his face. No one would dare to compete with him for favor in the future, as long as he subdued Baby. He really admired this idea. So be it. I'm not afraid of you. Baby couldn't take it anymore. How can an advanced spirit beast be my match? I am. Let's find a quiet place so that we don't wake Schwer up. The little silver mink looked at Lung Wuxia affectionately. Okay. After the two cute little beasts reached an agreement, they quietly slipped out of the Phoenix clan's territory, found an uninhabited mountain, and began the duel. Wait. Let's talk about the rules. The little silver mink suddenly said before the fight began. What rules? Baby was puzzled. Why is this stinky mink so troublesome? No hitting of faces nor pulling of fur, lest Schwer sees through us. The silver mink didn't forget what Schwer said just now. No fighting, no fighting. Okay, no problem. Baby agreed with this rule. He also didn't want his big sister to find out that he had fought with this beast in private. Boo-hoo. His big sister could be very fierce when she threw a temper. That was scary too. Then let's begin. I won't be polite anymore. The little silver mink dashed in front of Baby and began bashing him. Boo-hoo. You're playing dirty. I'm not ready yet. Baby shouted as he dodged the little mink's punches and kicks. Nothing is too deceitful in war, understand? Will it still be called a fight if I wait until you are ready? This is commonly known as sneak attack because I want to catch you off guard. The little silver mink boasted shamelessly while his little fist-like claws hammered Baby's chubby body. Boo. You're bullying Baby. I'll tell Big Sister. Baby wailed with tears flowing down his face. His chubby body wanted to avoid the punches, but he wasn't very agile because he was a little too fat. A good child doesn't tattle. The little silver mink said coldly as his little fists rained down on Baby. I'm so mad. Baby roared. He took advantage of the time that the little mink stopped to rest since he was tired and released his might. But, after waiting for a while, Baby was dumbfounded when he saw that he didn't achieve the expected effect. What's going on? The pressure from my might is actually useless against this mink. Don't waste your energy. Other beasts might be afraid of you, but I'm not. The little silver mink glanced at Baby from the side and deliberately dealt a blow. This is impossible. Who are you? Baby asked in disbelief. After waking up this time, he had obtained the inherited memories of his ancestors. Although they were incomplete, he more or less knew some things. Therefore, he was very clear that such a situation should never happen with his status. You don't have to know who I am. You just have to remember that I will be your boss from now on. The little silver mink said cockily. He found a rock to sit on and crossed his legs. His smug appearance could only be described as arrogant. What? Still haven't had enough? The little silver mink said coldly with a glare. I admit defeat. You are the boss. Baby was very practical. Although he was extremely unwilling to accept the fact that he had to bow down and listen to the little silver mink, just because he didn't have the slightest ability to retaliate, he dispelled that thought immediately after hearing the little silver mink. Boo-hoo. He didn't want to be beaten up again. This fellow was too ruthless. The mink actually beat him up until he became even fatter. That's a good boy. There will be meat to eat if you follow Big Brother in the future. The little silver mink caressed Baby's head, very satisfied with his performance. He liked obedient children like this. Yes. Big Brother, should we go back? Baby nodded and asked very ingratiatingly, but he was heartbroken. Boo. Ancestors, Baby has embarrassed you. Baby has let you down. Okay, let's go back. The little silver mink nodded. But just as the two beasts were about to leave, a red ray of light flashed past their heads. The little silver mink looked suspiciously at the trace of red light in the night sky. Where is this fire phoenix going in the middle of the night? Baby also looked up. Boss, that fire phoenix seems to be the king of the Phoenix clan, Fengzhan. Are you sure? The little silver mink asked with a serious expression and squinted eyes. What does this fire phoenix want to do? I won't allow any person or beast to harm Schwer. I just saw him tonight. It must be him. Baby hurriedly raised his little paw, as if he was swearing to prove that he was telling the truth. Let's follow and take a look, the little silver mink said after some thought. But we don't have wings and can't catch up with him, Baby said gloomily. What do you need wings for? I can catch up to him even without them. But you might not be able to because you're too fat. The little silver mink glanced at Baby with a disdainful expression. Then he transformed into a ray of silver light that chased after the fire phoenix. Oh, wait for me. Baby pouted as his fat and short forelegs chased after him like a ball rolling on the ground. Ugh. The silver light stopped after chasing for some time. Baby didn't manage to stop in time, and crashed into the little silver mink. Shoo, don't make a sound. The little silver mink hurriedly covered Baby's mouth, but his blue eyes were tightly glued to the phoenix that was murmuring something. Yes. Baby, whose mouth was covered, nodded and motioned the little mink to let go. After regaining freedom, Baby quietly looked around. Where is this? It was pitch black, and he couldn't see his paws. The only source of light here was the blazing phoenix shining with rays of colorful light. What's that sound? Suddenly, Baby heard a rustling sound. He was shocked and hurriedly leaned against the little mink. Ooh, Baby is very timid. Don't frighten Baby. Chapter 220, Reunion Mink vs. Baby Duel 4. Coward, it's just the wind, the little silver mink said with extreme helplessness and contempt. This was the first time he had seen someone so timid. Baby is really too useless. How can this little thing help Schwer? Thinking of this, he began to dislike Baby again. Oh, then it's okay. Baby emboldened himself, but he still stuck close to the little mink. At this moment, an enormous fire phoenix appeared in front of Feng Zhan. The two fire phoenixes were communicating in the unique language of the Phoenix clan. Little fatty, can you hear what they're saying? The little silver mink asked Baby while staring at the two fire phoenixes. The little silver mink couldn't hear them at all because they were too far away. Yes. Baby nodded. Even if he couldn't hear, he could read minds. This was his ability. Quickly translate it for me, the little silver mink said anxiously. Okay. Baby translated the conversation between the two fire phoenixes to the little silver mink. After the two fire phoenixes communicated, the enormous fire phoenix disappeared, and Feng Zhan flew away as well. Little fatty, you did well, the silver mink praised with satisfaction. It felt so good to have a translator with him. He decided that little fatty would be his personal assistant from now on. Big brother, can you not call me little fatty? My name is Baby. Baby pouted unhappily. How was he fat? He was just a little round. No. The little silver mink immediately declined Baby's request. Little fatty, we should go back, the little silver mink continued, but he was laughing in his mind. Haha, I really admire myself. Baby nodded, and the two beasts quickly crept back into the wooden house. After returning to the room, the little silver mink burrowed directly into Lung Ruoxia's arms. Baby could only lie in a small corner by the bed aggrievedly. Ooh. The next morning, when Lung Ruoxia woke up, she found Baby looking at her aggrievedly with tears in his eyes. What happened, Baby? Lung Ruoxia hugged Baby and said with some heartache. It's only been one night, but Baby seems to have gained weight again. What's going on? She really couldn't understand. Nothing. Baby just misses big sister. Baby waved his paws repeatedly. Boo-hoo. The boss also woke up and was still secretly staring at him. He didn't dare to complain. Silly, hasn't big sister always been here? Lung Ruoxia said with some amusement. Why does Baby feel so insecure? What a child. Schwer, the little silver mink called out in dissatisfaction. He burrowed into Lung Ruoxia's arms and squeezed Baby, this eyesore, to the side. Baby naturally didn't dare to make a sound. You're not allowed to bully Baby. Lung Ruoxia raised the little silver mink and looked directly into his beautiful blue eyes. She warned him, but she couldn't help sighing in her heart. Baby had always been very overbearing among her beasts, but this little silver mink could actually make Baby so obedient. She really didn't know how he did it. Schwer, how can you wrong me? Tears welled up in the little silver mink's eyes and rolled down his fluffy face. Lung Ruoxue was at a loss for words. The more she looked at this little mink, the more she felt that he looked like Freak. This feeling was really too strange. Shuer, are you awake? Lung Qingtian called from outside the door. Yes, I'm awake, Grandpa. Lung Ruoxue quickly put the little mink down, got out of bed, and opened the door for her grandfather. Grandpa, what's the matter? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. Her grandfather usually wouldn't disturb her so early. Lung Qingtian walked into his granddaughter's room, closed the door and asked bluntly. Shuer, there are more and more people following us now. What do you plan to do? Grandpa, do you have any good ideas? Lung Ruoxue asked in return with a frown. To be honest, she didn't know what to do either. Grandpa doesn't know either. But I discussed it with Old Man and the others that it would be better if we separated from them. It will be more convenient this way. Lung Qingtian said helplessly. Let me think about it. Grandpa, I'm going for a walk. Then Lung Ruoxue left the wooden house. Lung Ruoxue held the small silver mink in her arms, and had a small black fur ball lay on her shoulder. They left the territory of the Phoenix clan, and slowly walked along the seashore. Lung Ruoxue's heart was in a mess. Too many things had happened one after another recently. Alas! Suddenly, Darling's voice sounded in Lung Ruoxue's heart. Master, your cute darling is about to advance. Darling said excitedly from inside the bracelet. Haha, he was so happy. After advancing to level 9 Holy Beast, he could finally consume a green spirit pill. Ooh. He finally succeeded after being in seclusion for so long. He was so excited. Really? That's great. Lung Ruoxue hurriedly released Darling from the bracelet. As soon as he came out, he pounced on Lung Ruoxue excitedly. Ow ow. Darling screamed in pain as he was kicked fiercely. Where did you come from? Darling glared at the silver mink that kicked him, his fluffy face full of anger. I am Shuer's new favorite. The little silver mink announced his status domineeringly, his eyes full of provocation. Beloved master, he. Darling looked at Lung Ruoxue aggrievedly for comfort. Darling, quickly advance. Lung Ruoxue glared at the little mink helplessly. Why is this little guy more overbearing than baby? Okay, Darling replied. He came out to advance, so he couldn't delay the important matter. As for this little mink, he would deal with him slowly after he became a divine beast. Just advance here. Lung Ruoxue looked around. They were at the seaside, not far from the territory of the Phoenix clan, so it was safe, and no one would disturb them. Okay. Darling returned to his original form, and found a large, flat rock to sit cross-legged. After about an hour, Darling broke through the barrier between level 8 and 9. With the descent of heaven and earth laws, he advanced to level 9 Holy Beast. Chapter 221. Breakthrough Advancement 1. Beloved Master, I am a level 9 Holy Beast. Darling jumped up and shouted excitedly. He ignored the angry mink and embraced Lung Ruoxue. Okay, eat this. Lung Ruoxue caressed Darling's soft fur and handed him a green pill. Thank you, beloved master. Darling is going to become a divine beast. Darling hugged Lung Ruoxue excitedly and spun around several times. He even stole a kiss on her beautiful face. But his sneaky act had utterly infuriated the little silver mink and baby. These two extremely possessive fellows would definitely make life miserable for Darling in the future. Beloved master, I'm going to advance. Darling reluctantly put down his beloved master and sat back on the large rock. He then ate the green spirit pill and waited quietly. Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes were indifferent as she glanced at the peeping eyes in the sea. They better not act rashly, or I won't mind getting rid of them. It took relatively longer for Darling to advance from level 9 Holy Beast to Divine Beast, because he advanced 2 ranks in a row. After they waited for about 6 hours, the spiritual energy between heaven and earth became increasingly dense and flowed steadily toward Darling's body. Sitting cross-legged, Darling instinctively absorbed the rich heaven and earth spiritual energy, until he felt that the spiritual energy within his body had reached saturation, and could no longer absorb any more. He then poured all his energy into attacking the barrier to becoming a divine beast. After a while, Heaven and earth laws descended on this uninhabited sea once again. The stream of heaven and earth laws that descended this time was obviously much larger, and took longer than the previous time. After the heaven and earth laws slowly disappeared, Darling finally completed his advancement. Beloved master. After advancing, Darling immediately transformed and walked toward Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue looked at the stunningly beautiful man with boundless charm in front of her. She couldn't help admiring him in her heart. He is really too pleasing to the eye. Darling had transformed into a drop-dead gorgeous man. He was tall, had beautiful purple hair resembling purple orchids, and had dazzling silver eyes similar to stars shining with enchanting light. His temperament was noble and extraordinary, and every move he made was full of the demeanor of a king. Beloved master, do you like Darling's current form? Darling asked shyly and a little nervously, his starry silver eyes full of anticipation. Like, Lung Ruoxue said unabashedly. Who wouldn't like such an attractive and beautiful man? Just looking at him made her feel pleased. Hee. Darling knew that my beloved master would definitely like it. A little smug, Darling stretched out his long arms and hugged Lung Ruoxue tightly. Eha! A cry of pain immediately rang out. Darling held his beautiful face and angrily looked at the little silver mink. Damn it! He kicked me just now, and now he's actually scratching my face with his claws. Boo! Am now disfigured. After scratching Darling, the little silver mink proudly showed his sharp little claws and looked provocatively at the fox in human form. Emph! How dare you hug my woman after becoming a human? You're really courting death. Lung Ruoxue's face darkened. She looked speechlessly at the little silver mink and then at Darling, who was covering his face. She asked with concern, Darling, how is it? Beloved master, your Darling's face is disfigured. Darling said aggrievedly, tears rolling in his silver eyes but not falling. No, it won't. Let me see. Lung Ruoxue comforted him and removed Darling's hand covering his face. Really ruthless. There were 5 deep claw marks on Darling's face, and blood was flowing out from the wounds non-stop. Take this. Lung Ruoxue took out a pill and stuffed it into Darling's mouth. The injuries on his face immediately healed, but the 5 claw marks were still on his originally stunning face. And this. Lung Ruoxue took out a bottle of crystal honey and handed it to Darling. Beloved master, boo-hoo. Don't cry. Your face will recover within 3 days at most, Lung Ruoxue hurriedly consoled. At the same time, she glared fiercely at the little silver mink. How can you be so ruthless? Swear. The little silver mink looked at Lung Ruoxue aggrievedly. I'm just jealous that Stinky Fox actually dared to hug you. Let's go back. Lung Ruoxue said to Darling, completely ignoring the little mink. Okay. Darling nodded obediently and looked at the little silver mink with some pride. How dare you scratch me in front of master? You only have yourself to blame for master not caring about you. Lung Ruoxue brought Darling and the 2 little beasts back to the wooden house. Swear, who is he? Lung Qingtian, sitting in the living room, couldn't help asking curiously when he saw Swear bringing another man back. Master's grandfather, Darling. Darling interrupted Lung Ruoxue before she could answer. You're Darling? You've become a divine beast. Lung Qingtian said in pleasant surprise. Darling also advanced to divine beast. This was great. Their strength increased again. Yes, master's grandfather. Darling was excited too. But what happened to your face? Lung Qingtian looked at Darling with pity. How could a stunningly beautiful man be disfigured? My face. Grandpa, I plan to enter seclusion for a few days. Lung Ruoxue suddenly interrupted them. When Darling advanced just now, she had gained a lot of benefits and was already showing signs of breaking through. She wanted to strike while the iron was hot to see if she could break through. You're going into seclusion at this time? What if someone from the Phoenix clan looks for you? Lung Qingtian asked. He didn't believe that the Phoenix clan really just invited them as guests. I shouldn't be in seclusion for too long. If the Phoenix King wants to see me, ask him to wait. Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. She hadn't had a breakthrough in a long time. This was a rare opportunity that she didn't want to miss. Okay, then go into seclusion at ease. Lung Qingtian hurriedly urged. He knew that his granddaughter must have gained something from the advancement of Darling. Otherwise, she wouldn't have chosen this time to enter seclusion. Schwer's advancement was a huge deal. It couldn't be delayed. Chapter 222, Breakthrough Advancement. Lung Ruoxue nodded. She returned to her room and directly entered the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Of course, she also brought Darling, Baby, and the little silver mink along with her. Qingju, I'll leave them to you. Don't let them fight, Lung Ruoxue said to Qingju while also warning the three beasts. Big sister, don't worry. They won't be able to fight with me around. Qingju promised as he looked at the three seemingly well-behaved beasts. Okay, big sister is going into seclusion. Don't let anyone disturb me for the next few days. Lung Ruoxue ordered and walked straight toward the purple bamboo house. Did you hear what big sister said? Be good, or I'll have to lock you up, Qingju warned. Then he ignored them and ran along to take care of his herbs. Schwer. The little silver mink lay on the ground, crying out softly in dejection. More tears welled up in his eyes. Boo. Schwer is really angry with me. He felt so wronged. Boo. I hate my small body. In fact, he also wanted to pull Schwer into his arms, but he couldn't do it now. Boo. In the purple bamboo house, Lung Ruoxue was completely unaware of the little mink's conflicted thoughts. Right now she was fully focused on breaking through. The heaven-defying art had a total of 9 levels. She had broken through the first level with the help of her master, and she had only cultivated to the second level now. But she really hadn't expected the second level of the heaven-defying art to be so difficult. The amount of spiritual power required to break through was unimaginable. After accumulating for a period of time, the spiritual power in her body was almost saturated. With Darling's advancement just now, she had vaguely touched the edge of a breakthrough. Therefore, she believed that she should be able to break through in a few days. To be honest, she had been waiting for this day for a long time. Otherwise, she would have been able to advance to spiritual supremacy a long time ago with the amount of spiritual power in her body. But her current cultivation was mainly based on the heaven-defying art. If she couldn't break through in the heaven-defying art, she wouldn't be able to advance to spiritual supremacy. Alas, this was probably the overbearing nature of high-level cultivation techniques. Lung Ruoxue sat cross-legged and gathered all the spiritual power in her body to her dantian. She quietly circulated the heaven-defying art in her heart. Now she could only wait. After an unknown period of time, the spiritual power in Lung Ruoxue's body suddenly became restless. Immediately after, it started flowing crazily along the meridians in her body. Moreover, the spiritual power was very disorderly and was running around everywhere. At this moment, Lung Ruoxue had an abnormally painful expression on her face. Her forehead was covered with cold sweat, and her face was slightly pale. Slowly, as the spiritual power in her body became more and more orderly, her expression gradually returned to calmness. After a long time, the spiritual power that seemed to be guided by someone began to concentrate in one direction. The originally massive amount of spiritual power gathered and became smaller and smaller until it condensed into a liquid sphere the size of a baby's fist. The liquid sphere of spiritual power slowly circulated along the meridians of her body. At first, the circulation was very slow. Gradually it became faster and faster. After several cycles, the liquid sphere of spiritual power crashed violently against the barrier that prevented her breakthrough again and again. After countless collisions, the barrier that had become as thin as a cicada's wing shattered with a bang. Lung Ruoxue's heaven-defying art finally broke through the second level and entered the third level. After her breakthrough, Lung Ruoxue was in no hurry to get up. Instead, she continued to sit on the spot and absorb the rich spiritual power in the space. After entering the third level of the heaven-defying art, the massive amount of spiritual power stored in her body instantly emptied. Her body became like a bottomless pit again, and began to absorb the spiritual power of the outside world frantically. After her spiritual power was almost restored twice over from before, Lung Ruoxue stopped absorbing and left the purple bamboo house. Shwe! The little silver mink, who had been guarding outside the purple bamboo house, rushed into Lung Ruoxia's arms when he saw her. Why was he so passionate? I only went into seclusion for a few days, right? Lung Ruoxia looked at the little mink lying in her arms, and unwilling to get up. Did this little guy make a mistake again? What's the matter? Lung Ruoxia raised the little mink with both hands, and looked into his eyes. Schwer, I missed you so much. Don't be mad at me anymore, okay? The little silver mink begged as tears welled up in his eyes. Okay, but you can't be so barbaric anymore. Lung Ruoxia's heart softened as she looked at the little mink's pitiful appearance, and reminded him. Yes. The little silver mink nodded repeatedly, but he was thinking that he would never teach Schwer spirit beasts a lesson in front of her again in his heart. That's more like it. Lung Ruoxia caressed the little mink's soft fur. Big sister, quickly unlock my seal. Qingju said impatiently as he stood in front of Lung Ruoxia. Every time she broke through, she would unlock another level of the seal of the Heaven and Earth bracelet, and he could recover another ability. All right. Lung Ruoxia began unlocking the Heaven and Earth bracelet seal. Qingju, what ability did you obtain this time? Lung Ruoxia asked curiously. Big sister, Qingju won't tell you first. You'll know later. Qingju smiled mysteriously and kept her guessing. You've become a bad apple, little fellow. Lung Ruoxia pretended to be displeased. Seeing Qingju being so smug, she couldn't help stretching out her fingers to pinch his soft little face gently. Wow, it feels really good. Big sister. Qingju looked at Lung Ruoxia aggrievedly. All right, big sister will go out first. I won't fool around with you anymore. Lung Ruoxia smiled gently. She was really afraid that her grandfather and the others would get anxious if she didn't go out now. Moreover, she still had to find a place to advance to spiritual supremacy. After speaking, Lung Ruoxia left the Heaven and Earth bracelet, and went directly to the living room, where everyone happened to be. Schwer, you're finally out. Lung Qingtian finally felt relieved when he saw her. Grandpa, what's wrong? Did something happen? Lung Ruoxia asked with a puzzled expression. She had only been in seclusion for a few days, right? Why did her grandfather look so anxious? Chapter 223, Breakthrough Advancement 3. Little girl, you've been in seclusion for 5 days. How was it? Did you break through? Old man asked with concern. Yes, I can advance now. Lung Ruoxia nodded. That's good. After hearing this, Lung Qingtian and the others were relieved. What happened to you? Lung Ruoxia looked at their troubled expressions, and became a little nervous. Did something really happen? Was it Fengda? Don't be nervous. It's nothing. It's just that Feng Linger has been looking for you every day for the past few days, but she didn't tell us why. That's why we're a little worried. Lung Qingtian explained while wiping the cold sweat off his forehead. It seemed that their nervousness scared Schwer. Lung Ruoxia sighed in relief and complained. Grandpa, you guys can't scare me like this. Hee hee, little girl, we were just worried about you. Old man said somewhat embarrassedly. By the way, little girl, did anything happen in your space after you broke through? Old man whispered curiously into Lung Ruoxia's ear. Alas, he really wanted to go in and take a look. Unfortunately, it wasn't convenient now. I'll bring you in to take a look later, and you'll know. Lung Ruoxia said mysteriously but was sweating profusely in her heart. In fact, she was afraid that her grandfather and the others would be anxious, so she directly ran out without observing. Okay. I haven't been there for a long time. I was just missing it. Old man was excited. The space was really a good place. But what was more magical was that every time Schwer broke through, the space would change as well. He was really looking forward to it. Lung Ruoxia shot a look at her grandfather and the others, and the old men tacitly found an excuse to leave the living room. However, they didn't return to their rooms but slipped directly into Schwer's room. After a while, Lung Ruoxia also returned and sent the 3 anxious old men into the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Wow, little girl, the area here has become bigger again, Old man said with surprise. The spiritual energy was also more intense, and was even showing signs of liquefying. This is really too unbelievable. Not only that, after Big Sister broke through, 2 more fields appeared, and I can plant even more things now. Qingju's beautiful little face was full of pride as he constantly thought about what to plant. Qingju, you are an artifact spirit. Why are you so passionate about farming? Leng Ruoxue was a little speechless. She really couldn't understand. Moreover, it seemed like having 2 more fields actually made Qingju happier than unlocking the seal. Big sister, although I am an artifact spirit, planting is also my talent, Qingju said endlessly. He only had 3 original abilities and planting was one of them. During the years he was sealed, he had relied on planting to pass the time. Therefore, planting had already become an indispensable joy for him. Farming is good. If Qingju didn't take care of all the fields, how could we have so much delicious food? Leng Qingtian praised with a smile, not thinking that Qingju was wasting his talents at all. Grandpa understands me, Qingju echoed. In that case, quickly go and plant your fields. Big sister is going to advance, Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. Alas, these old men would spoil Qingju sooner or later. After leaving the heaven and earth bracelet and then the wooden house, Leng Ruoxue deliberately found a remote place to advance. This should do, right? Leng Ruoxue murmured to herself. This place was very far from the Phoenix clan's territory, and there were mountains all around it, so no one should notice. In fact, she didn't want others to know that she had so many beasts. Leng Ruoxue released all her beasts from her space. Immediately, thousands of beasts crowded the entire mountain stream. I am about to advance. Prepare yourselves, Leng Ruoxue said to the beasts, but her eyes were on the little silver mink. Oh, I've yet to contract with this little thing. Little thing, we have yet to establish a contract, right? Leng Ruoxue asked the little mink. Swear you advance first. We can't contract now. The little silver mink's eyes darkened. I don't want to become Schwer's contract beast. Ooh. Okay then. Leng Ruoxue didn't want to make things difficult for the little mink, nor did she ask him why, because a voice in her heart kept telling her that this little mink would not hurt her. Leng Ruoxue randomly found a place to sit cross-legged, and then she mobilized the spiritual power in her body to break through the barrier to becoming a spiritual supremacy. After a while, heaven and earth laws descended on the mountain stream, and shrouded Leng Ruoxue. She absorbed the heaven and earth laws without any qualms. It was a reward bestowed upon the cultivator. After a long while, the heaven and earth laws slowly dissipated, and she completed her advancement and became a spiritual supremacy. Immediately after, heaven and earth laws descended once again. After their master, Leng Ruoxue, advanced, her beasts also began to advance one after another. Dazzling lights flashed in the mountain stream for a long time. Except for a few that were already divine beasts, all the silver wolves advanced. The one who advanced the most advanced 3 levels. The Silver Wolf King directly advanced to a level 9 holy beast. This was a pleasant surprise for Leng Ruoxue. Silver Wings advanced directly to divine beast. Leng Ruoxue looked at the majestic Silver Wolf King. Yes, master. Silver Wings began to wait after eating a green spirit pill. Several hours later, heaven and earth laws finally descended, and Silver Wings officially advanced to divine beast. Leng Ruoxue's divine beasts expanded in numbers again. Even in human form, Silver Wings still fit his identity as the Silver Wolf King well. He had a tall and robust body, cold and handsome facial features, flowing silver hair, chilling and intimidating silver eyes, and the temperament of a king. This was the true king of the wolves. After her beasts advanced, Leng Ruoxue sent them all back into the heaven and earth bracelet. She then strolled back to the Phoenix clan's territory with the little silver mink in her arms. Little sister Ruoxue, you're finally back. Fenglinger was waiting anxiously for Leng Ruoxue at the entrance of the Phoenix clan's territory. Chapter 224. The Way to Bring Freak Back to Life, 1. Big sister, are you looking for me? Leng Ruoxue looked at Fenglinger doubtfully. Little sister Ruoxue, royal father wants to see you. Fenglinger said anxiously. Oh, what is it? Leng Ruoxue was surprised. Is Fengzhan finally going to reveal his purpose? I'm not sure either. Royal father refuses to tell me. Fenglinger said helplessly. This was why she was so anxious. Then take me to see the Phoenix King, big sister. Lung Ruoxue frowned slightly. Feng Zhan was really mysterious. He didn't even tell his daughter. Okay, let's go. Feng Linger pulled Lung Ruoxue toward the Phoenix King's resting palace. Royal father, little sister Ruoxue is here. Feng Linger whispered outside the palace when they arrived at the entrance. Let Miss Lung in. The Phoenix King's elegant voice came from outside. Little sister Ruoxue, go in by yourself. Big sister won't accompany you, Feng Linger said meaningfully. Her father wanted to see Ruoxue, so she wouldn't be a third wheel. Okay. Lung Ruoxue pushed open the palace door and walked in directly. The Phoenix King's resting palace looked like an enormous sycamore tree from the outside, but it was a completely different world inside. After entering the Phoenix King's resting palace, Lung Ruoxue looked up slightly. The decorations here were very similar to a human's room. It was mainly red with a golden background, and there were many phoenix totems on the walls and pillars. Miss Lung. Feng Zhan walked out of the inner room and blocked Lung Ruoxue with his tall body. Hello, Phoenix King. Lung Ruoxue greeted politely. Miss Lung, you broke through. Congratulations. Feng Zhan's dark red phoenix eyes sized Lung Ruoxue up. Lung Ruoxue nodded slightly and then asked, May I ask why you are looking for Ruoxue, Phoenix King? Miss Lung, please sit. I'll tell you a story. Feng Zhan pointed at a chair not far away. Tell me a story? Lung Ruoxue sat down in the chair and looked at Feng Zhan in bewilderment. She couldn't help wondering what the Phoenix King was up to. Did he look for her so frantically just to tell her a story? Yes, a very important story. Feng Zhan sighed softly and helplessly. Oh, please start then, Phoenix King. Lung Ruoxue said impatiently. She was not very interested in the Phoenix King's story, but she very much wanted to know Feng Zhan's purpose. It seems like Miss Lung is still an impatient person, Feng Zhan teased with a smile. Yes, my companion is still with the Dragon Clan. I'm very worried, Lung Ruoxue explained. What she implied was that he should quickly tell her his purpose. After that, she would go and save someone. Don't worry, Miss Lung. Your friend's life is not in danger in the Dragon Clan, Feng Zhan said with confidence, his face full of mystery. I'm afraid he will be tortured, Lung Ruoxue said. Of course, she knew that Feng Da's life wouldn't be in danger. After all, Feng Da had a dragon as his contract beast. If the Dragon Clan wanted to kill Feng Da, it was equivalent to killing one of their own. This wasn't something the Dragon Clan, who claimed to be the most united, would do. I'm afraid physical pain is unavoidable, Feng Zhan said honestly. So, Phoenix King, just tell me directly. Stop keeping me in suspense. Lung Ruoxue said a little impatiently. All right. Actually, I hope Miss Lung can stay in the Phoenix Clan, Feng Zhan said, shocking her. What? Lung Ruoxue asked uncertainly. Did I hear right? I hope Miss Lung can stay with us, Feng Zhan repeated patiently, his dark red phoenix eyes full of anticipation. I'm sorry, but that's unlikely. I still have important things to do. I can't stay in the same place forever, Lung Ruoxue explained implicitly. Although she didn't know why the Phoenix King said that, she didn't want to anger Feng Zhan, lest he destroyed all of them in a fit of anger. Miss Lung, if you are willing to stay in the Phoenix Clan, you will be the king of the Phoenix Clan from now on. And you can choose any handsome man in our Phoenix Clan. Feng Zhan threw out a big bait. He believed that no one could refuse such a generous offer. Lung Ruoxue's face darkened, and she was at a loss for words. What does the Phoenix King mean? I can choose any handsome man I want. Do I look like a pervert? The little silver mink, who had been acting as a pet in Lung Ruoxue's arms, heard what Feng Zhan said and hated him. Damn it. He could understand wanting to keep Schwer in the Phoenix Clan, but he couldn't tolerate the idea of giving her a man of the Phoenix Clan. Schwer can only be mine. What do you think, Miss Lung? Feng Zhan couldn't help asking when he saw Lung Ruoxue not responding for a long time. I appreciate your kindness, Phoenix King, but I really can't stay in the Phoenix Clan. As for the handsome man, I think I should leave him to the women of the Phoenix Clan. Lung Ruoxue replied after choosing her words carefully for some time. Miss Lung, don't make your decision too hastily. Let me finish telling you the story. Feng Zhan said leisurely and sighed softly. At first, he thought that his bait would be enough to attract Lung Ruoxue, but she unexpectedly remained unmoved. He had no choice but to tell her honestly in hopes of convincing her. To be honest, he really didn't want to tell anyone about it if possible. After all, it was considered a humiliation to the Phoenix clan. Okay. Pray tell Phoenix King. Lung Ruoxue urged. Miss Lung, actually, our Phoenix clan doesn't belong to this world. There are many spirit beasts in this world that didn't once belong here. We came from an extremely distant place. That place is a holy land that all humans and beasts have yearned for a long time. Feng Zhan said softly, as if he had fallen into a trance, lost in his memories. Then why are you here? Lung Ruoxue didn't deny that the Phoenix King's words piqued her curiosity. Seems like Feng Zhan really has a secret. That's because our Phoenix clan, the Dragon clan, and even other beasts were exiled here after a great war 100,000 years ago. Feng Zhan explained with deep pain in his eyes. Chapter 225. The way to bring Freak back to life, too. Exiled. Lung Ruoxue was puzzled. Only criminals would be exiled, right? Did the Dragon and Phoenix clans of the Lingfeng continent commit crimes? There was a traitor in the Phoenix clan, and the Phoenix King bloodline was exiled. I was only an egg when I was sent to this world. Back then, the Phoenix King was sealed, and the clan members who supported him were all exiled to various worlds. I was the youngest son of the Phoenix King, and after I was born, the clan members of this world supported me to become king. We live in this world. However, not only are our strengths limited, but we are also unable to ascend to the upper realm. However, the high priest of the Phoenix clan once prophesied that our Phoenix clan will have a new master, and she will also be the savior of our Phoenix clan. You are our new master, Feng Zhan explained. Are you sure? Lung Ruoxue asked lightly, but she kept communicating with Qingju in her heart. Qingju, do you know about the Great War 100,000 years ago? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. Big sister, the Great War 100,000 years ago should be referring to the time Old Master died. Qingju said sadly. Old Master has been dead for 100,000 years. Boo. In that case, it's possible that this Phoenix King was from the same world as Master? Lung Ruoxue couldn't be sure if what Feng Zhan said was true. The Phoenix clan is a very large race and was very powerful in the world where Old Master was. They were one of the 4 kings under the beast god. But I'm not sure as to whether or not there was a traitor among the Phoenix clan. Qingju said after carefully recalling. Qingju, do you think the Phoenix King's words are trustworthy? Lung Ruoxue asked. The Phoenix King should be telling the truth, Qingju said after tilting his head in thought for a while. Okay. Lung Ruoxue severed the connection after communicating with Qingju in her head. The high priest once said that a woman would save our Phoenix clan. Feng Zhan looked at Lung Ruoxue and nodded with certainty. Phoenix King, there are many women in this world. Are you sure that it's me? Lung Ruoxue asked coldly. Miss Lung, there are indeed many women in the world, but not all of them can come to the Phoenix clan. Feng Zhan smiled mysteriously. Phoenix King, stop keeping me in suspense. I won't agree unless you tell me clearly. Lung Ruoxue said coldly. She didn't want to be used by others. Miss Lung, I'm telling the truth. The new master mentioned in the high priest's prophecy is indeed you. Feng Zhan said with certainty. Many people don't know why the Phoenix clan and the Dragon clan rarely travel on the Lingfeng continent. Does Miss Lung want to know? Feng Zhan asked with a smile. Could there be something else? Lung Ruoxue guessed. Yes, because there is a barrier outside Grief Remedy Forest that limits our movement. What I mean is that the members of the Phoenix clan who have advanced to divine beasts are unable to appear alone on the Lingfeng continent, unless they have a master. Similarly, people outside are unable to come to the Phoenix nest. Even if someone passes through the barrier, they are unable to pass through Grief Remedy Forest safely. Miss Lung and the others are the only humans who have been able to come to the Phoenix nest for the past tens of thousands of years. Feng Zhan explained the reason to Lung Ruoxue. But you can't just assume that I'm your new master, can you? Doesn't the Phoenix clan exist in every world? Lung Ruoxue continued asking her doubts. I was exiled to this world with the mission of finding the new master of the Phoenix clan, because the high priest said that the new master of the Phoenix clan would appear in the lower dimensions. Feng Zhan sighed. He had waited for so long before she finally arrived. But this new master seemed to be of strong character, and was determined not to be moved by temptation. Since your high priest is so powerful, why didn't he predict that there would be a traitor in the Phoenix clan? Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. She had never believed in prophecies, she only believed in herself. No prophecy can predict what is related to you or things beyond your authority, so the high priest was helpless. After all, the people involved in the war back then had extraordinary identities, Feng Zhan said simply. Even though he was not born yet, he knew a little about the war. You are limited by the barrier. What about the Dragon Clan? Why can they go to the Lingfeng continent to capture someone? Lung Ruoxue was puzzled. Wasn't the Dragon Clan exiled like the Phoenix Clan? The Dragon Clan is different from us. The barrier is much less restrictive on the Dragon Clan than on the Phoenix Clan, Feng Zhan said with some indignation. It was really too unfair. They were kept here and not allowed to leave just because they could spit fire, while the dragons could leave, even though there was a restriction on the time and number. Phoenix King, you said that I'm your new master, but I'm only a spiritual supremacy and weak now. I'm afraid, Lung Ruoxue hesitated. She didn't want the Phoenix King to have too much hope and treat her as their savior, so she decided to give him forewarning. Master, we're not in a hurry. We have waited for so long. Moreover, time is nothing to the Phoenix clan, Feng Zhan consoled hurriedly. Of course, he knew that Lung Ruoxue definitely wouldn't be able to lead them in rebuilding their glory with her current strength. But they had plenty of time, so they could wait. That's good. Lung Ruoxue seemed to be at ease, but she couldn't help worrying in her heart. He already started calling her master, even though she didn't seem to have agreed. Master, then let's choose a time to contract. Feng Zhan said impatiently. Okay. Lung Ruoxue felt like she was being forced into a corner, but she knew that contracting with the Phoenix clan would be very beneficial for her. But nonetheless, Phoenix King, I don't want to contract with the entire Phoenix clan, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. Master, why is this so? Feng Zhan asked with a bitter face. Did some idiot from the Phoenix clan offend her? He had already warned his clan that Lung Ruoxue was a distinguished guest, so they had to treat her well. I want some of the Phoenix clan to contract with my subordinates. Lung Ruoxue revealed the plan that she had been brewing. Master, how about this? You contract the entire Phoenix clan first. As for the contract beasts for your subordinates, I'll take care of it, Feng Zhan said after some thought. It was not that he disliked his master's subordinates, but he thought that it would cause some of the clan members to feel that their master despised them if she didn't contract with all of them. As the king of the Phoenix clan, he naturally had to consider the interests of his own clan. Chapter 226. The Way to Bring Freak Back to Life 3. Okay. Lung Ruoxue agreed readily. She also knew that beasts like dragons and phoenixes would not casually contract with humans, so she didn't want to make things difficult for Feng Zhan. After settling the matter with Feng Zhan, Lung Ruoxue returned to the wooden house. Inside the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Grandpa, did you hear what Feng Zhan just said to me? Lung Ruoxue asked the three old men in front of her. Oh, swear, so that's what the Phoenix King wants. That's fortunate. I was still worried that he would harm us. Lung Qingtian said with a sigh of relief. Little girl, your luck is really infuriating. Even the Phoenix clan came knocking on your door to contract with you. Alas, why don't I have such good luck? Old man said with a sigh. Yes, even I am jealous of you. Lin Liang's tone might be complaining, but his expression was not the least bit that way. Instead, his face was full of joy, as if he had contracted with them himself. Swear, contracting the Phoenix clan will be very beneficial for you now. But Grandpa is a little worried about the traitor of the Phoenix clan, Lung Qingtian said worriedly. He didn't want his granddaughter to suffer any harm. Contracting with the Phoenix clan had both pros and cons. He was afraid that the Phoenix clan would become a time bomb. Grandpa, Even without the Phoenix clan, there are some things that I can't avoid, Lung Ruoxua said helplessly. The matter of the Phoenix clan involved the Great War 100,000 years ago, and that war was obviously related to her master, so she couldn't avoid it at all. Instead of running away, it was better to start accumulating her strength now. Swear, what do you mean? Lung Qingtian was puzzled. Yes, Ruoxua. What do you mean? Lin Liang and Old Man were equally puzzled. I have to begin by explaining about my master. Lung Ruoxua explained everything in detail to Lung Qingtian and the others. After listening to her, the three of them fell silent. Swear, Grandpa will definitely help you no matter how formidable your future enemy is, Lung Qingtian said calmly with a serious face after a while. Swear's words were beyond his expectations. No wonder Swear has never taken the Su family seriously. The Su family is just a small fry compared to that enemy. Alas! It seems we've set our sights too low. Little girl, even though my strength is limited, I am also very willing to help you as long as you are willing to accept me. Old Man also expressed his attitude very seriously. Hee, how can I miss out on this kind of thing? Lin Liang chimed in as well, taking on the responsibility as well. Being together with young people really made him so energetic. It seemed like he had to cultivate harder in the future, and not be outdone by this little girl. Lung Ruoxua looked at Old Man and Lin Liang a little touched. She wasn't surprised that her grandfather said so, but she didn't expect these two to say the same. In fact, she could understand even if they didn't help. Little girl, don't look at me like that. I am too old and can't take it. Old Man said with an exaggerated expression on his face. You old fart. What nonsense are you saying? Lung Qingtian glared at him. Ruoxua, I have decided. I want to enter seclusion here and cultivate diligently, lest I become a burden later on. Lin Liang revealed his plan after thinking about it. I can't fall behind Brat Lin. I want to enter seclusion as well. Old Man hurriedly said. No. If both of you are in seclusion, what should Shuer say if someone asks? Lung Qingtian disagreed, directly denying their thoughts. Old Man, Grandpa Lin, wait for me to save Fengde and destroy the spiritual deities of the Su family before you enter seclusion. Lung Ruoxua said with a slight frown. All right. Time can accelerate here anyway, so a few more days won't hurt. Old Man and Lin Liang nodded. I'll send you out first. We've been here for a long time, Lung Ruoxua said to the three old men. Okay. After sending the three of them out of the Heaven and Earth bracelet, Lung Ruoxua entered the purple bamboo house. Freak, are you doing okay? Lung Ruoxua put the little silver mink aside and murmured to herself while staring at Freak's frozen body. I miss you so much, Lung Ruoxua said softly, choked up as tears rolled down her cheeks. Swear, the little silver mink called softly. He wanted to jump into Lung Ruoxua's arms, but Swear ignored him. Boo. The little silver mink hated Swear for neglecting him. Boo-hoo. He was so jealous of the big ice block lying on the bed, even though he knew that his idea was ridiculous because it was actually him. But he really. Swear, do you know how much I want to tell you that I am your freak? But, boo-hoo. He felt so inferior now, and he was even more unwilling to let Swear know that he was now a little mink who couldn't even transform into a human. Swear. The little silver mink calmed down, and gently tugged on Lung Ruoxua's sleeve. Oh, what's wrong? Lung Ruoxua looked at the little mink with tears in her eyes, her face full of confusion. Swear, don't cry. He isn't dead. The little silver mink comforted. Boohoo, seeing Schwenner's tears made him both happy and distressed. His mood was conflicted. What did you say? How do you know? The little mink's words exploded in Lung Ruoxua's ears like a bomb. Lung Ruoxua picked up the little silver mink in disbelief, and raised him in front of her eyes to look directly into those incomparably beautiful blue eyes. He's not dead, the little silver mink repeated, but he was very nervous. Swear wouldn't see anything, would she? How do you know? Lung Ruoxua asked anxiously, her heart racing. My inherited memories told me. Moreover, I know how to dispel the frosty palm's poison, the little silver mink suddenly said confidently. He was really too smart to think of such a reason. Tell me quickly, Lung Ruoxua said anxiously. Chapter 227. The Way to Bring Freak Back to Life 4? Schwer, you're hugging me too tightly. You're going to strangle me. Relax. The little silver mink said with some difficulty. He didn't want to die again before he was revived. I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. Lung Ruoxua relaxed her hands. She was relieved to see the little mink breathing more smoothly. Schwer, his injuries are too serious. That's why you thought he was dead. In fact, he can wake up as long as the frosty palm's poison is cured, the little silver mink explained. Really? How can I cure the poison? Lung Ruoxua asked anxiously. She didn't doubt what the little mink said at all. After all, even though everyone said that the Su family's frosty palm was incurable, there seemed to be many secret techniques in the inherited memories of beasts. So it was normal for the little mink to know. You need a 1,000-year fire lotus. The little mink was a little hesitant. No matter which world fire lotuses were in, they were rare and precious, let alone a 1,000-year-old one. In fact, the reason why fire lotuses were difficult to find was mainly because of their stringent growing environment. I will think of a way to find a 1,000-year fire lotus, Lung Ruoxua said resolutely. Since she now knew that Freak wasn't dead, she had to think of a way to save him. She said before that she wouldn't let Freak leave her. Little mink, thanks for telling me this information, Lung Ruoxua said gratefully as she hugged the little mink tightly. Schwer, fire lotuses love fire. It's possible to find traces of them in places with rich fire element or in volcanoes, the little silver mink reminded. Fire lotuses were heavenly treasures and earthly materials, and they were born from heaven and earth's spiritual energy. It was very possible that fire lotuses more than 1,000 years old had already developed intelligence and knew how to avoid danger, so they were not easy to find. They like fire? I'll ask the Phoenix King. Lung Ruoxua thought about it. The Phoenix clan also liked fire, so would the Phoenix clan have fire lotuses? Actions spoke louder than words. With this in mind, Lung Ruoxua immediately left the Heaven and Earth bracelet and greeted her grandfather before heading straight for Fengzhan. After arriving at the Phoenix King's resting palace, Lung Ruoxua explained her purpose. Fire lotus? Fengzhan frowned and pondered for a long time. Master, I am sure that there are no fire lotuses in the Phoenix clan, but there's an active volcano in our territory. There may be a fire lotus there, Fengzhan guessed after thinking for a while. Although the Phoenix clan was of the fire attribute, they didn't know much about alchemy and artificing, so they were not too interested in these things. Really? Oh, look then. Lung Ruoxua was about to leave when Fengzhan stopped her. Master, don't be hasty. It's very dangerous there. I'll go with you after the master acknowledgement ceremony tomorrow, Fengzhan said helplessly. Master is really impatient. Okay. Lung Ruoxua knew that she indeed needed a guide. Moreover, there were guardian beasts wherever spirit plants grew. It would be a waste not to use him since he was willing to be a fighter for her. Oh right, have you heard of essence restoration grass? Lung Ruoxua continued asking. Fengzhan had lived for so long, so he should have heard of it, right? Essence restoration grass? What does Master want essence restoration grass for? Fengzhan asked curiously. Although the Phoenix clan wasn't good at alchemy and artificing, their understanding of herbs and minerals was unparalleled. My brother is injured and needs a pill concocted from essence restoration grass, Lung Ruoxua explained simply. Essence restoration grass isn't something precious, but there aren't many in this world. Fengzhan smiled gently with a mysterious expression. You know? Then tell me. Where can I find it? Lung Ruoxua hurriedly asked. She had always been worried about her brother's matter, and she had never forgotten it. The Dragon Clan should have some, Fengzhan directly said, not beating around the bush. But that essence restoration grass. I'll go to the Dragon Clan the day after tomorrow, Lung Ruoxua said after some thought. She planned to visit the Phoenix Clan's underground volcano tomorrow. Then I'll go with Master. Fengzhan's handsome face was full of cunning. The Dragon Clan. I have to teach that stinky dragon a lesson. Lung Ruoxua nodded in agreement. The next day, the The Phoenix King led all his people to acknowledge Lung Ruoxue as their master formally in the Phoenix clan's chamber hall. After the master acknowledgement ceremony, Feng Zhan brought Lung Ruoxue to the active volcano. It's so hot here. Lung Ruoxue felt the blazing heat before reaching the entrance of the volcano. It rushed at her face and grilled her body uncomfortably. Master, come closer to me. Feng Zhan said to Lung Ruoxue and used his spiritual power to protect her body. Much better. Lung Ruoxue felt much better, and her body was not as uncomfortable as before with Feng Zhan's protection. Although she also had fire attribute spiritual power, the temperature here was a little unbearable. Master, we can reach the interior of the volcano from here. Feng Zhan pointed at a small cave. Lung Ruoxue looked at the small cave. The entrance was very small, and only one person could enter each time. After the two of them entered the entrance, the space inside suddenly became spacious. Be careful. There are many poisonous bugs here. Feng Zhan whispered to Lung Ruoxue. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded and looked around carefully at the environment in front of her. The light was very dim, but she could still see clearly that the place closest to the entrance of the cave was very dry. The entire cave was dark red, and the stone walls and ground were covered with volcanic ash, which had already condensed into blocks because it had been so long. The two of them walked in carefully. The farther they went, the darker it became. At this moment, Feng Zhan lit a torch that illuminated the entire cave. Aha! Lung Ruoxue covered her mouth and threw up uncontrollably. It was so disgusting. The mountain walls were densely covered with red bugs that resembled spiders, making her hair stand on end. Charm. Lung Ruoxue quickly let Charm out and hugged him tightly. Master, don't be scared. Charm quickly comforted her and released his ice spiritual skill, freezing the entire mountain walls into thin ice. The temperature of the volcano immediately dropped significantly. Purple-eyed snow fox. Feng Zhan was surprised. He looked at the snow-white little fox in Lung Ruoxue's arms and felt somewhat uncomfortable. I'm also Master's beast, okay? Why doesn't she hug me? Chapter 228. The Strange Encounter in the Volcano, Feng Zhan vs. Long Hao 1. Fire Phoenix. Charm narrowed his beautiful purple eyes as he sized up Feng Zhan. Even though the status of purple-eyed snow foxes among beasts was inferior to that of phoenix races, it was still difficult to say who would emerge victorious if they really fought. Let's go in. Lung Ruoxue urged, ignoring the sparks flying between the two beasts. Master, follow me closely, Feng Zhan said softly as his gaze turned to Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue nodded and slowly walked behind Feng Zhan. After walking for about an hour, they finally arrived at the center of the volcano. Lung Ruoxue looked up at the scene in front of her with astonishment. It was really too spectacular. She saw fiery red magma slowly flowing on the walls of the mountain, and finally gathered together and flowed into a natural pool. The magma in the pool was like boiling water, bubbling and gushing around nonstop. Master, this is the center of the volcano. If there is a fire lotus, it should be here, Feng Zhan explained. Fire lotuses like to grow in places with the densest fire element. Let's look for one. Lung Ruoxue nodded. This area wasn't small, so she hoped she could find one. Then let's split up and search. Master, be careful, Feng Zhan said worriedly. Lung Ruoxue nodded and began looking around. Be careful. Suddenly, Feng Zhan's exclamation sounded from behind Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue instinctively turned her head and saw an ugly fiery red monster rushing at her. She was shocked, and Charm in her arms had already pounced at the monster. Feng Zhan hurriedly walked to Lung Ruoxue's side and asked with concern, Master, are you all right? I'm fine, Lung Ruoxue said calmly. She was just shocked. After all, no woman would like something so ugly. What is this? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. The monster fighting Charm had the exact same head and tail, and it was impossible to distinguish what was what. Its body was more than 10 meters long and as thick as a water bucket, and its skin was red but transparent. Moreover, she could vaguely see the blood vessels inside, and the liquid flowing slowly in its body. It is a fire earth dragon. It is born in magma and eats magma. Fengzhan explained to Leng Ruoxue while staring at the two beasts fighting. This fire-earth dragon actually had the strength of a holy beast. It was really unbelievable. Fire-earth dragons were known to be very weak and having very short lifespans. Could there have been some kind of mutation in this dragon? Are you sure? Leng Ruoxue looked at Fengzhan doubtfully. Why was this fire-earth dragon so strong? Yes, it must have mutated. Oh, go help that fox, Fengzhan guessed and then flew toward the fire-earth dragon. What are you doing here? Charm, who was fighting with the fire-earth dragon, asked with slight displeasure when he saw Fengzhan appear. I'm here to help. This is its territory. Even if you're stronger than it, you won't be able to show your superiority, Fengzhan said very kindly as he released his southern spirit flame. Stop arguing. End this quickly. Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. Just as she finished speaking, she heard a painful howl coming from the fire-earth dragon. Its body was on fire. Are you sure your fire is effective? Charm asked deliberately, not wanting to see this man being too smug. Of course. My fire isn't something that can be devoured by just anything, Fengzhan said confidently. Even though fire-earth dragons fed on magma, they could also consume flames. But he was soon dumbfounded. How could this happen? Fengzhan muttered in disbelief. His eyes had to be playing tricks on him because the mutated fire-earth dragon actually slowly absorbed the flames on its body, and its strength instantly increased by several levels. This fire-earth dragon is very strange. Charm was also in disbelief. None of the fire-earth dragons he knew were so strange. Moreover, fire-earth dragons couldn't be considered spirit beasts at all. Even at the holy beast level, they were unable to develop intelligence or speak. But this fire-earth dragon could actually devour the southern spirit flame, which was abnormal in itself. Let me try. After speaking, Leng Ruoxue directly released the heaven-level spiritual skill feather of the fire phoenix. This fire-earth dragon was not afraid of the Phoenix clan's southern spirit flame. Would it be afraid of her divine flame? Master's flame. Fengzhan's thoughts raced as he looked at the small and cute feather. Although the entire feather was fiery red, on careful look, people would notice that the center of the flame feather was deep purple with the outermost edge golden. Moreover, the temperature was extremely high. Could this be the legendary? While Fengzhan was thinking, the small fiery red feather had already begun to disintegrate into countless feathers and entangle the body of the fire-earth dragon. Immediately, painful howls resounded from the fire-earth dragon. I wonder if this fire-earth dragon can swallow my divine flame as well. Leng Ruoxue couldn't help thinking. She was really curious. Moreover, she specially added her natal divine flame into the feather of the flame phoenix. She hoped that this fire-earth dragon wouldn't disappoint her. Unfortunately, the fire-earth dragon still disappointed Leng Ruoxue, because it only took 10 minutes before her divine flame burned it to ashes. What is this? Leng Ruoxue picked up a fiery red translucent crystal that resembled a diamond from the ashes. Master, this is something good. You're rich. Fengzhan said excitedly. Heavens, how can this thing exist in this world? No wonder that fire-earth dragon mutated. With this thing around, all fire attribute spirit beasts would benefit greatly. What is this? Leng Ruoxue's face was full of question marks. Is this a diamond? This is a fire crystal core. Countless fire crystals can be produced as long as it is around. Fire crystals are very important to fire attribute cultivators, Fengzhan explained simply. In his hometown, crystals of various attributes were used to assist cultivation. Master, it's enough to absorb spiritual energy from heaven and earth to cultivate in this dimension. But when you reach a higher dimension, you'll need crystals of various attributes to assist your cultivation. It's a little early to tell you all this now. You'll understand more when you go to a higher dimension, Fengzhan continued. Chapter 229. The Strange Encounter in the Volcano. Fengzhan versus Long Hao 2, Leng Ruoxue nodded. She understood what Fengzhan meant. The higher your level, the more heaven and earth spiritual energy you required. Therefore, various methods that could assist in cultivation would be very important at that time. Continue searching. Lung Ruoxue stored the fire crystal core in the heaven and earth bracelet and handed it to Qingju for safekeeping. After some thought, she released Quill. Quill, can you see with your X-ray vision in here? Lung Ruoxue asked. Master, heavenly materials and earthly treasures cannot be seen through, Quill said helplessly. Heavenly materials and earthly treasures had their own spirituality, and only those who were fated could obtain them. Oh, take your time then, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. In fact, she had already guessed this. Otherwise, Quill would have come out to help long ago. Master, we want to help too, Dazzle said from the bracelet. All right, all of you come out. Lung Ruoxue let out the other beasts. The more beasts there were, the more hands they would have. After coming out, they each occupied a spot and searched carefully. Master, there's a flower here, Rise suddenly called out. Where? Lung Ruoxue came to Rise's location and looked around. There was nothing except a large rock. Under the rock. Rise lowered his head and motioned Lung Ruoxue to look down. Lung Ruoxue squatted down and looked at the large rock under Rise. There was indeed a small flower in the gap under the rock, but it was still a small bud. The flower was entirely fiery red, slightly smaller than an adult's palm, and exuded a faint lotus fragrance. Found it! Lung Ruoxue shouted excitedly. Fengzhan immediately came to Lung Ruoxue's side, glanced at the small fire lotus, and said honestly, Master, this isn't a 1,000-year-old fire lotus. I know, but it's better than nothing, Lung Ruoxue said happily. She had the heaven and earth bracelet, so as long as she could find a fire lotus, even if it was not 1,000 years old, she could plant it and make it into a 1,000-year-old fire lotus. That's true, Master. I'll dig it out, Fengzhan volunteered. Okay. Lung Ruoxue gave her spot to Fengzhan. Fengzhan first moved the rock away, then squatted down and carefully dug out the fire lotus from the ground. He then handed it to Lung Ruoxue. After receiving the fire lotus, Lung Ruoxue directly sent it into the bracelet and handed it to Qingju. Let's go back. Lung Ruoxue knew that only a single heavenly material and earthly treasure would grow in a place, so there was no need to continue looking. Okay. Fengzhan nodded, and the few beasts also jumped onto Lung Ruoxue's arms or shoulders. Following their original route, Lung Ruoxue, Fengzhan, and the other beasts left the active volcano and returned to the Phoenix clan's territory. In the wooden house. Swear you're back. How was your harvest? Lung Qingtian asked curiously. He already knew that Freak had not really died, but a 1,000-year fire lotus was not easy to find. It's not bad. We found a small one. Lung Ruoxue was very satisfied. After all, fire lotuses were very difficult to find, so she didn't expect to find one in one try. That's good. Lung Qingtian was relieved. Yes, Grandpa. I'm a little tired. I'll go back to my room to rest first, Lung Ruoxue said. Go quickly. Lung Qingtian hurried his granddaughter upon hearing that she was tired. The moment Lung Ruoxue returned to her room, the little silver mink she left in the room jumped into her arms. Fuervuhu. How could you abandon me? The little silver mink complained aggrievedly, tears welling up in his blue eyes. You were the one who said you don't like fire, Lung Ruoxue said speechlessly. Why is this little mink complaining first? But you can't leave me at home, the little silver mink said gloomily. He meant that Schwerer could put him in the bracelet, but she actually directly left him in the room. Oh, I misunderstood. I thought you didn't want to go. Lung Ruoxue giggled. Actually, she did it on purpose since this little mink always threatened her with tears. You have to compensate me, the little silver mink said, pushing his luck. He was definitely going to take advantage of Schwer, since she couldn't do anything to him anyway. How? Lung Ruoxue was speechless. Why is this little mink so similar to Freak? They're both unwilling to suffer any loss. I haven't thought about it yet. I'll tell you when I think of it, the little silver mink said slyly. All right, Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. Then she entered the heaven and earth bracelet with the little mink in her arms. Big sister, I've already planted the fire lotus. I also placed the fire crystal core near it to accelerate its growth. Qingju hurriedly reported his labor results to Lung Ruoxue after seeing her enter. Qingju, you've worked hard. Lung Ruoxue picked up the beautiful and cute toddler. She actually felt a little guilty looking at Qingju's small arms and legs. Is this considered exploiting an underage child? Big sister, you're letting your imagination run wild again. Qingju, who knew what Lung Ruoxue was thinking, rolled his eyes, his pinkish face full of helplessness. He was an artifact spirit, not an underage child. Qingju, when will this fire lotus reach 1,000 years? Lung Ruoxue was embarrassed and quickly changed the topic. Big sister, it should take at least 100 years, adding on the accelerated time, and the fire crystal core. Qingju said after thinking with a frown. 100 years? That long? Lung Ruoxue was depressed. Big sister, 100 years is fast. For cultivators, 100 years passes by in the blink of an eye. Qingju said nonchalantly. In his opinion, 100 years was really nothing. For example, his old master could enter seclusion for more than 100 years at a time. Yes, master. Hundreds of years will pass by every time we sleep. Rise couldn't help consoling. Big sister, you just have to cultivate diligently if you want it to grow into 1,000-year fire lotus quickly. If you reach old master's level, not to mention 1,000 years, even 10,000 years will pass by in the blink of an eye. Qingju encouraged. He hoped that his big sister could improve her strength quickly, so that he could help her even more. Chapter 230. The Strange Encounter in the Volcano, Feng Zhan vs. Long Hao 3, cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruoxue's forehead. In the blink of an eye? Who takes years to blink? Big sister, I'm just making an analogy. Qingju pouted his pink lips in dissatisfaction. Big sister is really too bad. Qingju, can you not eavesdrop? Lung Ruoxue said awkwardly while wiping the cold sweat off her forehead. She didn't even have the right to privacy anymore. Big sister, there's no need to eavesdrop with soul contracts. I'm listening openly. Qingju covered his small mouth and smiled secretly. Hee hee, big sister is so cute. I'm going out first. Lung Ruoxue quickly fled after speaking. Ooh. I'm such a failure as a master. Haha. Qingju and the beasts in the bracelet couldn't help laughing out loud. Lung Ruoxue got out of the heaven and earth bracelet, laid on her bed, and had a good night's sleep. When she woke up, it was already the next day. After leaving her room, Lung Ruoxue casually ate something, greeted her grandfather and the others, and went to look for Feng Zhan. As soon as she arrived at the door of his palace, she saw him waiting for her outside. Master. Feng Zhan dashed to Lung Ruoxue's side when he saw her. Let's go. Lung Ruoxue said impatiently. Feng Zhan nodded, and the two of them walked toward the entrance side by side. Big sister, wait for Inflame. Inflame's voice sounded behind them just as they reached the entrance. Lung Ruoxue stopped and looked helplessly at the little vermilion bird who had run into her arms. Inflame, big sister is going to do serious business. Stay in the clan obediently. Since coming to the Phoenix clan, Lung Ruoxue had rarely seen this naughty little guy. She heard that big sister Linger had put this little thing in solitary confinement. Why did he sneak out today? Little sister Ruoxue. I said I would accompany you to the dragon clan. Why didn't you tell me you were going today? Feng Linger appeared in front of Lung Ruoxue with a displeased face and looked at her in annoyance. Lung Ruoxue looked at the handsome man beside Feng Linger and said teasingly, A big sister, didn't I do it for your own good? Master. Feng Miao, Feng Linger's husband, bowed respectfully. You don't have to be so polite. My beasts are all very naughty. Lung Ruoxue said uncomfortably. That's right. Ruoxue is my little sister, Feng Linger echoed casually. You're going too? Feng Zhan stared at them. Royal father, I promised little sister Ruoxue that I would accompany her to save her friend. How can I go back on my word? Feng Linger hugged Feng Zhan's arm and acted coquettishly. Then let's go together. Lung Ruoxue glanced at Feng Zhan. Even though she hadn't spent much time with Feng Linger, she knew Feng Linger's fiery nature very well. Feng Miao would probably be the unlucky one if she didn't let this violent fire phoenix follow. Yes. I won't cause any trouble. Feng Linger promised like an obedient child. As if Feng Zhan didn't believe her words at all. He threw down these 2 words coldly, turned around, and walked in the direction of the Dragon Clan. They chatted as they walked, and they soon arrived at Dragon Island. Sister Wuxia, do you see that island? Those stinky dragons live there. Feng Linger pointed at a small island not far away. Lung Wuxia looked in the direction Feng Linger pointed, and saw a small island floating on the sea. Thick fog surrounded the island, so she could not see the surroundings clearly. But how many dragons could live on such a small island? How do we enter? Lung Wuxia's beautiful eyes stared at Feng Zhan. This dragon island was surrounded by water on all sides, so they probably had to fly there. Master, don't worry. That old dragon will send a dragon to fetch us. Feng Zhan said mysteriously with a cunning face. Really? Lung Wuxia was a little skeptical. She heard that dragons and phoenixes were enemies. Would the Dragon Clan really treat them as distinguished guests? Feng Zhan didn't answer Lung Wuxia, but expressed it directly with his actions. Feng Zhan quickly returned to his original form and flew around the sky of Dragon Island. After flying a few rounds, he spat out raging flames. Immediately, flames surged into the sky from the sea surrounding the island. Ugh, her forehead full of black lines. Lung Wuxia looked at the incomparably enormous fire phoenix, shining with colorful lights in the sky. Arrogant, too arrogant. This was the first time she had seen someone knock on another's door like this in her life. She really felt that she was too kind compared with Feng Zhan. After releasing the fire, Feng Zhan immediately transformed into a human and stood beside Lung Wuxia with an innocent face. It was as if the arrogant fire phoenix just now had nothing to do with him. Who dares to cause trouble on Dragon Island? You must be tired of living. An angry roar sounded from Dragon Island, and several huge dragons flew out. Ah, damn it. It's the Phoenix King. Go and report to the Dragon Emperor. The Phoenix King is here to cause trouble again. Several mighty dragons flew out and retreated in fright when they saw Feng Zhan standing on the beach. Holding back her smile, Lung Wuxia looked Feng Zhan up and down again and again. No wonder Feng Zhan is so arrogant. It turns out that these dragons are like mice seeing a cat when they see him. Master, they are too cowardly. It's not my fault. Feng Zhan's expression was very innocent. Yes, little sister Wuxia, the Dragon Clan is timid and afraid of trouble. They only know how to bully the weak and fear the strong, so we have to deal with them forcefully, Feng Linger explained. She had come to Dragon Island frequently to cause trouble, and even beat up many dragons as she grew up, so she didn't care about those stinky dragons at all. Makes sense, Lung Wuxia agreed helplessly. She had to beat up those who bullied the weak and were afraid of the strong. Perhaps she should find a few of them to beat up later? Damn Feng Zhan, why are you here again? An angry roar sounded deafeningly in the ears of Lung Wuxia and the others. Then a gigantic purple-golden dragon flew out of Dragon Island. The dragon was about 100 meters long and covered in purple-golden scales. They were as beautiful and translucent as the finest amethysts. A pair of enormous wings stretched out, covering half the sky. Chapter 231. The Strange Encounter in the Volcano, Feng Zhan vs. Long Hao 4. I missed you, so I came to see you, Feng Zhan said softly, as if their relationship was good. Bah, I don't miss you. You don't have to come see me. Long Hao 1 said disdainfully. Who would believe this sly old fox? Nothing good happened every time this fellow came. You're really too insincere. I came all the way here, but you didn't even invite us in. Feng Zhan complained lightly with an aggrieved expression on his face. Get lost. I didn't invite you. Long Hao roared furiously. He really couldn't stand Feng Zhan's damn appearance. He was clearly a bird, but why was he more cunning than a fox? Please. I won't come if I'm invited. I like to come uninvited, Feng Zhan said provokingly. Ew. Damn it. Long Hao's anger soared, and he charged directly at Feng Zhan. Don't hurt my master, you stupid fat dragon. Feng Zhan returned to his original form and blocked Long Hao's path. Ha. Your master? Did I hear you right? Ha ha ha. The angry Long Hao was stunned for a moment before he started laughing hysterically. It was too funny. This bird, who was even more cunning than a fox, actually found a master for himself. Wasn't it just looking for trouble? Haha, how could there be freedom being ordered around all day? Laugh all you want. You will cry later. Feng Zhan smiled nonchalantly. He had already expected this stinky dragon's reaction, but he believed that it wouldn't be long before this stinky dragon cried. Humph. I won't cry. Feng Zhan, take this. Long Hao didn't forget the important matter after laughing enough. He still had to teach this bird a lesson. Come on. Feng Zhan lightly flapped his enormous wings and looked at Long Zhan with slight contempt. Soon the bird and dragon tangled in a fight. Fiery red spiritual power flew everywhere, dazzling in the sky. The two colossi each used their flame and dragon breath to attack each other. Do they fight as soon as they meet? Lung Ruoxua asked helplessly as she looked at the dragon and phoenix in the sky. The dragon was on par with Feng Zhan, and it was difficult to determine the winner. Yes, they fight all the time. Master, you just have to get used to it, Feng Miao said nonchalantly. There had never been any peaceful coexistence between dragons and phoenixes, and they would always start fighting the moment they met. Oh, Inflame, quickly help me gather dragon scales. They are good materials for refining artifacts. Lung Ruoxua hurriedly ordered unscrupulously while looking at the dragon scales that fell to the sea and on the beach. Big sister, leave it to Inflame. Inflame flew to the surface of the sea excitedly, and grabbed a dragon scale that was many times larger than his body with his two little claws. He flew back happily to Lung Ruoxua and handed the dragon scale to her. Inflame is so awesome. Thank you, Inflame. Lung Ruoxua caressed Inflame's cute little head and coaxed him. Little sister Ruoxua, it'll help too. Feng Linger directly returned to her original form, and flew to the surface of the sea. She flapped her wings, and a strong gust of wind immediately blew on the sea surface, causing the dragon scales scattered on the sea surface to all roll onto the beach. Standing on the beach, Feng Miao and Inflame helped Lung Ruoxua pick up the dragon scales. Long Hao, who was engaged in a fierce battle with Feng Zhan in the sky, almost fainted from anger when he saw the situation on the ground. Seems like my master is very satisfied with your dragon scales. I'll pluck some for her. Feng Zhan said very calmly. After he spoke, his two sharp and hard claws directly grabbed onto Long Hao's thick dragon body. Suddenly, the dragon scales on Long Hao's body fell like snowflakes. Eha! You damn bird! I'm going to kill you! Long Hao roared furiously. He was utterly enraged by Feng Zhan, and began clawing at his body. Dragon scales that were even larger than a wash basin and fiery red feathers glittering colorfully fell from the sky. Looking at the two beasts who had completely given up on using their skills and switched to brawling, Lung Ruoxua was at a loss for words. Little sister Ruoxua, they. Feng Linger seemed to want to say something, but she opened her mouth and closed it again in the end, leaving a helpless expression on her face. Stop it! Lung Ruoxua shouted at the dragon and phoenix in the sky. The two beasts, which were in the midst of intense scratching and biting, were startled by the sudden roar and instinctively stopped. Human, how dare you order this emperor around? Long Hao hollered in displeasure. He was already depressed enough that this woman dared to shout at him. You're not allowed to be so rude to my master. Feng Zhan's dark red phoenix eyes widened in warning. Tisi, she's your master, not mine, Long Hao said disdainfully. No one dared to order him around in this world. Is that so? Feng Zhan smiled mysteriously, but he accidentally pulled on the wounds on his body, and couldn't help taking a deep breath. It really hurts. Damn, this stinky dragon is really ruthless. Of course. Long Hao looked at Lung Ruoxua provocatively. Don't think I won't dare to beat you just because you're a dragon. Lung Ruoxua narrowed her beautiful eyes coldly. This old dragon really deserves a beating. Haha, haha. Long Hao laughed hysterically. Did I hear it right? This woman says she wants to beat me up. A mere spiritual supremacy like you? Long Hao asked mockingly while his huge dragon eyes sized Lung Ruoxua up from head to toe. You can try, Lung Ruoxua said expressionlessly. Such arrogance. I'm going to teach you a lesson today. Long Hao said fiercely. No human had ever dared to speak to him like this, much less beat him up. This woman really doesn't know what's good for her. Little sister Wuxia, big sister will help you, Feng Linger quickly said. No need. Big sister can just be my audience, Lung Wuxia said confidently. She had yet to fight anyone since she became a spiritual supremacy. She could start practicing with this dragon. One long means dragon in Chinese. Chapter 232. The Unlucky Dragon Clan Being Schemed Against 1. Okay. Be careful, little sister Wuxia. The dragon's breath is very powerful, Feng Linger reminded. Okay, got it. Lung Wuxia nodded, and released the wind attribute heavenly spiritual skill wings of the wind. A huge pair of green energy wings immediately appeared on her back, and carried her into the air to maintain the same height as Long Hao. Even if you can fly, you're not my match, Long Hao said arrogantly, not taking Lung Wuxia seriously at all. Didn't anyone tell you not to underestimate your enemy? Lung Wuxia said calmly. She turned her head slightly and looked at the wings behind her. This was her first time using the skill wings of the wind, and it looked to be effective. No, Long Hao answered truthfully. He knew that his race was very powerful before he was born. Therefore, he had never known what underestimating the enemy was. It could be said that he had never considered this concept of underestimating the enemy. He had always looked down on humans except for the beast races who had comparable strength to him. You will know today. Lung Wuxia reminded him very kindly, and then launched her first attack. Feather of the Fire Phoenix. A crisp voice sounded in everyone's ears, and a small fiery red feather flew toward Long Hao. What is this? Is it the feather of that bird? Haha. Long Hao laughed out loud as he looked at the feather flying toward him, which wasn't even as big as his claw. Laugh, continue laughing. You won't be able to laugh later, gloated Feng Zhan, who had tacitly stood to the side to watch the battle. He had seen the destructive power of the feather with his own eyes. Blazing Tree Silver Flower. Meteor Moon Slash. Lung Wuxia unleashed 2 more skills in succession while Long Hao was getting carried away. Sparks flew in the sky and transformed into shooting stars that charged directly at Long Hao. The small and exquisite feather also began to split, and slowly coiled around Long Hao. This is impossible. Long Hao was dumbfounded. Apart from the stinky bird's southern spirit flame, there were no flames that could hurt him. But this human woman's flames made him feel a piercing pain. Who could tell him what was going on? Master, although this stinky dragon has thick skin and flesh, he can't withstand being burned. Feng Zhan looked sympathetically at the dumbfounded Long Hao. Don't worry. I'm just teaching him a lesson. It won't take his life, Lung Wuxia said understandingly. Well, that old dragon was indeed foolish. At first he underestimated his enemy, but later on he was scared by her flames and even forgot to attack. Hee, she liked opponents who didn't fight back like this. Who's worried about him? Feng Zhan reacted strongly and roared. He and that stinky dragon were mortal enemies, so he wouldn't care about him. I understand. Lung Wuxia was very understanding. At the same time, she retracted her fire attribute spiritual power to prevent burning the old dragon ripe. Haha, you've become a roasted dragon now. Feng Zhan couldn't help laughing hysterically when he saw Long Hao's charred body. He was just short of rolling on the ground. Long Hao was on the brink of tears. He looked at his originally beautiful and dazzling scales that had turned black and felt regretful. Boo-hoo, he couldn't help sneaking peeks at Lung Wuxia with his big, teary dragon eyes. Ooh, this woman is really terrifying. She looks so petite and cute, but why is she so ruthless? Do you still want to fight? Oh right, you didn't even have the chance to attack just now. Why don't I let you go first this time? Lung Wuxia said with an absolutely fair appearance. I won't fight anymore, Long Hao said fearfully. This woman was a devil. He couldn't afford to offend her. Moreover, he believed that he definitely wouldn't be able to take advantage of this woman even if he attacked first. Boo-hoo. His body was still in pain, and he didn't want to suffer any more pain. This is for you. It won't hurt anymore after you eat it. Lung Wuxia was very kind and threw Long Hao a pill. But she was impressed in her heart. This old dragon was quite sensible. After this lesson, He should be able to happily return Fengde to her later. Hopefully, her opening gambit was not in vain. Long Hao took the pill and threw it directly into his mouth. But the pill was too small and melted in his mouth, so he didn't taste it at all. He only felt a light fragrance lingering in his mouth, leaving a rich aftertaste. What was more magical was that his injuries were all healed, and his beautiful scales regrew. Are there any more? Give me another one, Long Hao asked shamelessly, as if he had forgotten that she was of the human race that he despised the most. Scram! Feng Zhan roared while rolling his eyes at Long Hao. Master, I want one too. Feng Zhan looked at Lung Ruoxue pitifully like a puppy after yelling at Long Hao. Boo! A lot of my feathers were plucked off by that stinky dragon. Take it. Lung Ruoxue forced a smile and threw Feng Zhan a similar pill. Thank you, master. Feng Zhan took the pill and hurriedly threw it into his mouth. In an instant his injuries healed, and the feathers that had fallen regrew. Dragon Emperor, it's not impossible to obtain pills, Lung Ruoxue said softly while looking at Long Hao's gigantic body. Really? Long Hao was pleasantly surprised. This pill was really something good. But I can't give any to you for free. You have to exchange something for them. Lung Ruoxue revealed her purpose after tossing out the bait. What is it? I'm very poor and don't have money, Long Hao said with a bitter face. Bullshit. You dragons are the wealthiest, yet you claim to be poor. How embarrassing. Feng Zhan exposed him unceremoniously. Dragons were the best at plundering good things. I don't want money. Lung Ruoxue rolled her eyes at Long Hao helplessly. She had long heard that dragons were greedy, lustful, and petty. Seeing one today, she thought that they were indeed worthy of their reputation. That's good. Long Hao didn't care about Feng Zhan's sarcasm at all. He was greatly relieved when he heard Lung Ruoxue say that she didn't want money. Then what do you want? Long Hao asked. Dragon Emperor, why don't you invite us in? Lung Ruoxue asked instead of answering his question. Chapter 233. The Unlucky Dragon Clan Being Schemed Against 2. I'm sorry. I forgot. Please come in. Long Hao said, slightly embarrassed. To be honest, he hadn't intended to invite them in before, but things were different now. After Long Hao finished speaking, a bridge immediately appeared between Dragon Island and the beach. Under the guidance of the Dragon Emperor, Lung Ruoxue and the others stepped onto the small bridge and entered Dragon Island. Upon entering Dragon Island, Lung Ruoxue found that the entire island was unbelievably large. The small mountain she saw outside was merely the tip of the iceberg of Dragon Island. However, this Dragon Island was a little too desolate. Even though Dragon Island stretched as far as the eye could see, there wasn't a single tree on the island. The island was full of cliffs and precipices with countless caves carved into the walls. That is where we dragons live, Long Hao explained when he saw Lung Ruoxue looking at the caves. Don't you dragons come out during the day? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. She often saw phoenixes in the Phoenix clan's territory, but she didn't see a single dragon on such a big island. Dragons like to sleep, so they spend most of the year resting in their caves, Long Hao said implicitly, his face slightly hot. Just say that you dragons are too lazy. Feng Zhan's cool voice drifted over. You damn bird. No one will think you're a mute if you don't speak. Long Hao roared and glared at him. My mouth is mine. I can say whatever I want. It's none of your business. Feng Zhan replied. He just liked to go against Long Hao. Stop quarreling, Lung Ruoxue said with slight displeasure. Her beautiful eyes lightly glanced at them, and Feng Zhan and Long Hao immediately shut their mouths sensibly. This is the main hall of our dragon clan. Please enter, Miss Lung, Long Hao said politely while pointing at a cave after they walked for a while. It was like he was a different dragon from the violent one outside of the island just now. Okay. Lung Ruoxue braced herself and walked into the cave. The cave was relatively clean, but it was pretty shabby compared to the main hall of the Phoenix clan. There was nothing else besides a few rows of stone chairs on both sides of the throne. Please take a seat, everyone. After entering the cave, Long Hao transformed into a human and sat directly on his throne. Lung Ruoxue casually found a chair and sat down. Her beautiful eyes looked at Long Hao, who was sitting on the head seat. This dragon was also a stunningly beautiful man. He looked about 20 years old, with a tall body, purple golden hair, golden eyes, and a body full of kingly majesty. Why are the human forms of spirit beasts so beautiful? She didn't understand. Miss Lung, what would you like to exchange for the pill? Long Hao asked eagerly after they sat down. He was very interested in the pill. Stinky dragon, why don't you serve us some tea or snacks? Is this how you treat your guests? Feng Zhan couldn't help looking for trouble with him again before Lung Ruoxue could reply. Come, serve us some fruits. Long Hao ordered while suppressing his anger. He was so angry that he wanted to grill the bird and eat him. That's more like it. Feng Zhan nodded with satisfaction, looking as if he was very reasonable. After a while, a few dragons brought in several plates of fruits and placed them in front of Lung Ruoxue and the others. Master, this dragon clan's ambergris fruit might not be as good as our phoenix fruit, but it's passable. Have a taste. Feng Zhan picked up a green fruit that resembled a pear and handed it to Lung Ruoxue. You damn bird. Who said that our dragon clan's ambergris fruit isn't as good as phoenix fruit? Long Hao hated to hear such words. His loud voice shook the entire cave. But this time, Lung Ruoxue ignored their argument. She took out a red fruit from her ring, put it to her mouth, and took a small bite. Immediately, the fragrance of the fruit drifted in the entire cave. It smells so good. Long Hao couldn't help taking a deep breath and staring at Lung Ruoxue with shining eyes. Master, where did this fruit come from? Feng Zhan asked in amazement. The smell alone made people feel refreshed, and it was really too alluring. Of course it was planted, Lung Ruoxue said while eating. Who planted it? Is there more? Feng Zhan asked anxiously. The spiritual energy contained in the fruit was not something that the phoenix fruit could compare with. Do you want one? Lung Ruoxue asked lightly with the expression of the big bad wolf seducing Little Red Riding Hood. Yes, of course I do. Feng Zhan said hurriedly. I want one too, Long Hao quickly said, not willing to be outdone, for fear that the fruits would be gone if he was late. How does it compare to your ambergris fruit and phoenix fruit? Lung Ruoxue looked at the two of them with a smile. There's no comparison, the two said in unison. So, are you still going to argue? Lung Ruoxue asked. No more, no more. The two smiled apologetically and cooperated very well. For you. As for the Dragon Emperor, you can exchange something for them. Lung Ruoxue threw Feng Zhan a storage ring, and then spoke to Long Hao. Master, you're the best. Feng Zhan quickly put the storage ring away, as though he was afraid that someone would snatch it away. Miss Lung, what do you want? Anything is fine except money, Long Hao said resolutely. Relax. I don't want money, Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. Are dragons really that poor? So stingy? Please tell me, Miss Lung. I will try my best to satisfy you if it's within my means, Long Hao said generously. Master, I'll say it for you. Feng Zhan winked at Lung Ruoxue with a mysterious expression. Lung Ruoxue nodded and agreed to let Feng Zhan be her spokesperson. Stinky Dragon, listen carefully. My master's condition is very simple. First, we want essence restoration grass. This condition isn't difficult to fulfill, right? Feng Zhan raised his eyebrows slightly. It's not difficult. Essence restoration grass was useless to them. Second, you captured a human a while ago, right? How do you know? Long Hao asked curiously, but his eyes were looking at Lung Ruoxue. Could that human be related to her? In that case, it won't be easy to handle. Chapter 234. The Unlucky Dragon Clan being schemed against 3. To tell you the truth, that human is my master's subordinate. Feng Zhan simply made things clear with Long Hao to prevent him from making wild guesses. Oh, are there any other conditions? Long Hao wanted to change the topic. Yes. What? Why are there so many conditions? Hopefully they won't make things difficult for me. Long Hao prayed in his heart. He really wanted those fruits and pills. My master's subordinates need contract beasts. You dragons aren't bad. Your skin is thick and resistant to attacks, so you should sacrifice a few stinky dragons. Feng Zhan said with a smile, his expression very amiable. Impossible. Long Hao stood up from his chair angrily and looked at Feng Zhan with a face full of rage. A dragon was contracted with a human, and the dragon clan almost had a falling out. Those elders would eat him alive if there were more. Dragon Emperor, since you're unwilling, I won't force you. Then let's exchange for the essence restoration grass and Fengda for the time being. If the Dragon Clan wants to make other transactions, you can come to the Phoenix Clan to find me at any time. Lung Ruoxue said coldly, and also stood up while rolling her eyes at Feng Zhan. So this fellow was targeting the Dragon Clan when he said he would find contract beasts for her subordinates. Well, it was a good idea, but the dragons were not so easy to fool. Miss Lung, the essence restoration grass is no problem, but I have to discuss the matter of the human with the elders before we can decide. Long Hao said with a troubled expression. The mighty Dragon Emperor can't even decide on such a small matter? Lung Ruoxue asked with slight mockery. Actually, that human isn't in my hands, Long Hao said softly. Where then? Lung Ruoxue pretended to be impatient. That human was captured by the third elder of our dragon clan, and he has always been in the third elder's hands. Long Hao explained that the third elder went to the Lingfeng continent to look for his son, but found that his son had actually been contracted by a human. He captured that human in the fit of anger. The third elder and that fire dragon. Lung Ruoxue asked lightly while staring at Long Hao with her beautiful eyes. Father and son. Long Hao betrayed the third elder without hesitation, and revealed their relationship. Oh, I see, Lung Ruoxue said with a face full of understanding. Dragon Emperor, may I meet the third elder? Lung Ruoxue continued to ask. If she couldn't convince that old dragon, then she would have to use force. In any case, she had to take Fengda away today. Sure. But the third elder doesn't have a good temper, Long Hao reminded. It's okay. My temper isn't very good either, Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. When Long Hao heard this, his face darkened. What does she mean? Is she going to use violence to curb violence? It's not impossible. Good luck, third elder. For his own benefits, Long Hao betrayed the third elder easily. After bringing Lung Ruoxue and the others to the third elder's residence, he found a random excuse and immediately slipped away. Master, are we going in? Feng Zhan asked eagerly. Beating up dragons was his favorite pastime. Royal father, let me take the lead. Feng Linger's beautiful face was full of excitement. She couldn't defeat the Dragon Emperor, but that wasn't the case with the third elder. What are you doing? We're not here to fight. Cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruoxue's forehead. What a violent pair of father and daughter. Why are we here then? Feng Linger was puzzled. Those stinky dragons were all very stubborn, and there was no helping them unless they beat them up. Of course we're here to negotiate. We have to convince the dragon with reason. Lung Ruoxue boasted shamelessly, her beautiful face devoid of any shame. Oh, Feng Zhan and Feng Linger responded, but their eyes were full of disbelief. Stop looking at me like that. I'm a pacifist. Lung Ruoxue walked directly into the cave without looking at them. Human, where did you come from? How dare you trespass into my mansion? Lung Ruoxue heard a furious roar coming from inside the cave, before she could see what was happening inside. Mansion? Lung Ruoxue couldn't help laughing. This old dragon is quite interesting. He actually called this shabby cave his mansion. It was really unexpected. Little girl, what are you laughing about? With a displeased face, a tall and handsome middle-aged man suddenly appeared in front of Lung Ruoxue. He didn't know why there was a human in the clan, but this girl was pretty gutsy. How does such a shabby cave resemble a mansion? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. This old dragon was indeed quite interesting. Other dragons liked their true form, but he actually appeared in human form. Did he yearn for the life of humans? A shabby cave is also my mansion. The middle-aged man roared loudly while glaring at her. Feng Zhan walked in and said with an accusing face, Hey, third elder, why are you shouting? Don't scare my master. Phoenix King. Hi, your master? Who is that? The third elder was so surprised that his jaw almost hit the ground. Am I deaf? Did I just hear the Phoenix King say my master? The master he's talking about is me, Lung Ruoxue kindly explained. She had been thinking about how to move this old dragon. Her principle was to try not to fight if possible. But if she had to, then she would ruthlessly beat up her opponents until they became well-behaved. How can the mighty Phoenix King acknowledge a human as his master? Haha, I wonder if the ancestors of your Phoenix clan will be driven to their graves if they find out. The third elder burst into laughter. Third elder, don't worry. The ancestors of the Phoenix clan will definitely be very grateful to me. I've done a great service to the clan, Feng Zhan said nonchalantly without even frowning. Really? Haha. Phoenix King, did you bring this little girl in? The third elder asked, even though he knew it all along. Asking the obvious. Feng Zhan spat out these words coldly. He turned his face away, too lazy to look at the smug old stinky dragon. Third elder, I heard you captured a human? Lung Ruoxue probed to see the old dragon's attitude. Chapter 235. The Unlucky Dragon Clan Being Schemed Against for. So what? Are you here that human? The third elder guessed. Emph. He was full of anger at the mention of that human. Yes, that person is my subordinate. I hope you can return him to me, third elder. Lung Ruoxue said politely. Don't even think about it. The third elder refused without hesitation. That human could forget about ever leaving Dragon Island. He didn't want his son to be enslaved by a human. Third elder, feel free to state any conditions as long as it's within my means, Lung Ruoxue said patiently. She was being polite before resorting to force. If this old dragon continued being so stubborn, then she shouldn't be blamed. There's no need to negotiate unless they can cancel the contract, the third elder said stubbornly. Third elder, as a spirit beast, you should know very well that a soul contract can't be broken. Aren't you making things difficult for me? Lung Ruoxue was a little angry after hearing the old dragon's condition. She was being nice because she didn't want to have a major conflict with the Dragon Clan. With her strength, she was not afraid of the Dragon Clan. But she was unwilling to use force if there were simple and energy-saving ways to achieve her goal. I only have this one condition. The third elder refused to give in. In that case, I have no choice but to apologize to third elder in advance. Lung Ruoxue directly attacked. A thread-like green spiritual power drifted out from her fingertip and slowly coiled around the third elder, tightly binding him. Humph. You want to deal with me with this little bit of spiritual power? The third elder said with a face full of disdain. As a divine beast, he didn't care about such a little bit of spiritual power. So he didn't even dodge or resist and let the thin thread wrap around him. At the same time, in a cell on Dragon Island, Master, that female Jinx is here. A fire dragon hurriedly flew to the side of a cliff and shouted at the person locked inside. Which female Jinx? The person inside asked calmly. It's the female Jinx who captured me to contract with Master, Fire Dragon hurriedly explained. Fonda quickly ran to Fire Dragon and asked through the arm-thick railing. Are you saying that Miss is here? To save me? Yes, but she's no match for those dragons, Fire Dragon said worriedly. Boo. Poor Master. Nonsense. If Miss could teach you a lesson back then, she can naturally teach other dragons a lesson now. Also, you are not allowed to call Miss a female Jinx. Fonda's big hand slapped Fire Dragon's head as he scolded. Miss is my idol. There is nothing Miss can't do, Fonda thought. His blind admiration for Lung Ruoxue had already risen to an indescribable height. Boo. Master. You've been poisoned too deeply by the female Jinx. Fire Dragon complained in his heart while looking at Fonda with his huge dragon eyes like a little wife. Where is Miss now? Fonda asked excitedly. Ha. He knew that his young lady would definitely come to save him. At my father's place, Fire Dragon whispered, feeling very nervous. Boo. Father. Don't hurt the female Jinx, or Master will blame me. He knew very well how important the female Jinx was in his master's heart. Little Fire, your father is going to be in trouble. Fonda's face was full of schadenfreude. Emph. So what if that third elder is the father of my spirit beast? How dare he capture me and scare me? I have to prepare for my revenge. The thought of the sea beasts not far away eyeing him like food made him resentful. But he knew that the third elder would not kill him. Otherwise, Fire Dragon would not survive. The third elder's goal was merely to torture him mentally. How is that possible? My father is a divine beast. Fire Dragon really couldn't believe his master's words. No matter how powerful that female Jinx was, it was impossible for her to defeat a divine beast, right? What's so great about a divine beast? My young lady has many divine beasts, Fonda said with a face full of pride, his eyes shining with adoration. That's true. But there are many divine beasts in the dragon clan, Fire Dragon said carefully. There were nearly 1,000 dragons in the entire dragon clan, and there were hundreds of dragons that had advanced to divine beasts, so what? Fonda said disapprovingly. He was very confident in his young lady. She wouldn't fight a battle that she wasn't confident of winning. Since she dared to come, she probably didn't care about those dragons at all. Alas! Master is hopeless. Fire Dragon couldn't help sighing and shaking his head helplessly. At the third elder's residence, the third elder, who underestimated his enemy, didn't expect that this thin thread of spiritual power would actually prevent him from breaking free. Moreover, it bound him tighter and tighter and entangled him even more. In just a short while, green spiritual power covered his body. The third elder struggled with all his might. But the spiritual power thinner than a strand of hair didn't budge at all. Slowly, the green spiritual power changed, and green leaves actually grew on it. Then pink flowers the size of a fingernail bloomed. Pfft! Fengzhan couldn't help bursting into laughter when he saw the third elder's current appearance. The third elder actually became a tree stump. Not only was his body covered in leaves, but flowers had even bloomed on his body. He just didn't know if they would bear fruit later. He couldn't help but be full of anticipation. What spiritual skill is this? Why is it so strange? The third elder also discovered the situation happening to his body, and even forgot to be angry. He was curious. He had lived for so long but had yet to see any spiritual skill that could bloom. This is a spiritual skill I created myself. It's called luxuriant branches and leaves. I am using it for the first time today. How does it feel? Lung Ruoxua asked lightly. Obviously, she regarded the third elder as a lab rat. Quickly let go of me. If you are so capable, let's fight head-on. The third elder roared while almost vomiting blood in his heart. What was this? He actually became the little girl's lab rat for experimenting with her spiritual skill. He was so depressed. Fight head-on? Third elder, do you think I'm teasing you? Lung Ruoxua smiled mockingly. Does this old man think I have to ask my opponents if they're ready before we start fighting? Chapter 236. To play the long game 1. What I mean is, you release me, and we'll fight again. I won't accept it since you won unfairly like this. The third elder argued stubbornly. As the saying goes, all is fair in love and war. I only want the result. As for the process, it doesn't matter as long as it achieves my goal. Lung Ruoxua said calmly. Well, she should still think about how to negotiate with the dragon clan. The third elder was so angry that he couldn't speak, and only after a while did he manage to squeeze out, You're despicable. Am I despicable? Lung Ruoxua asked Fengzhan with an innocent face. How can master be despicable? Those who don't know what's good for themselves and do nothing but rely on their identity as divine beasts are the despicable ones. Fengzhan said softly without even looking up. In Flame, go invite the Dragon Emperor over. Lung Ruoxua instructed In Flame outside. Okay, I'll go find that stinky dragon now. In Flame, who was guarding outside, immediately flew happily to find Long Hao. After a while, Long Hao very reluctantly arrived at the third elder's residence. Long Hao looked at the third elder, who was growing flowers, and suppressed his laughter to say dignifiedly, May I know why Miss Lung is looking for me? Dragon Emperor, I want to exchange him for Fengda. Is that okay? Lung Ruoxua asked indifferently, her beautiful eyes staring at Long Hao. I'm fine with it. But I don't know. Long Hao glanced at the third elder and stopped mid-sentence. Alas! These elders of the dragon clan were all stubborn old men. He couldn't force the third elder to agree even though he was the dragon emperor. Don't even think about it. I will never hand him over to you, the third elder said stubbornly. He would rather die than let his son lose his freedom and be controlled by humans to work like a draft animal. Would you rather die than submit? Lung Ruoxue questioned coldly. What's wrong with this third elder? She really didn't understand why this old man was so insistent. Yes, you can kill me, but don't expect me to hand him over to you, the third elder said resolutely. Why? Give me a reason. Lung Ruoxue asked patiently. She couldn't really kill the third elder, right? After all, this old man was the father of that fire dragon. I don't want my son to be enslaved by humans and lose his freedom, the third elder roared furiously. Who told you that being contracted with a human means that you will definitely be enslaved by humans? If I'm not mistaken, the reason why that fire dragon left the dragon clan was that he was bullied in the clan, right? To tell you the truth, if it weren't for me, your son wouldn't have been able to advance to become a divine beast now. Not only are you ungrateful, but you even repaid kindness with ingratitude and captured my subordinate. Emph. Lung Ruoxue said with an ice-cold tone, her face covered in frost. No, it's impossible. How can my son's advancement to divine beast be related to this little girl? Wasn't it Ao's own efforts? The third elder was incomparably shocked and was unwilling to believe Lung Ruoxue's words at all. If you don't believe me, you can call that fire dragon over, and we can confront each other face to face, Lung Ruoxue suggested. This old man could doubt her words, but he wouldn't not believe the words of his son, right? Come, get Huao to come over. Long Hao ordered his subordinates. No need to get me. I'm here. A red-haired young man walked in. Oh, father. Miss, please show mercy and let my father go. Huao walked to Lung Ruoxue, knelt down and begged. It seemed that his master was right. His father was indeed the unlucky one. Alas, the female jinx is really too terrifying. You are asking the wrong person. It's your father who is finding trouble with me. Lung Ruoxue didn't even look at the fire dragon, and her tone was even colder than before. Father, it's all thanks to Miss that I was able to advance to divine beast, Huao explained directly. He had heard everything they said outside. Aor, is what you said true? But how is this possible? She's only a human, the third elder asked in disbelief, his face full of astonishment. Even Long Hao and Fengzhan were surprised. Miss is an alchemist, Huao said. She can concoct pills that can advance holy beasts? Long Hao asked anxiously. If this was the case, he would have to reconsider Lung Ruoxue's position. Huao stared at Lung Ruoxue for a while, and then nodded. Yes. Miss Lung, I agree to return that human to you. Please let the third elder go. Long Hao immediately said emphatically after hearing what Huao said. Third elder, do you have any objections? Lung Ruoxue asked while looking at the third elder. And no. Although the third elder was still a little unwilling, he knew very well that he had to back down in the face of major issues concerning the Dragon Clan. In that case, let's exchange. Okay, Miss Lung. What about our deal? Long Hao couldn't help asking. As usual, of course, Lung Ruoxue said generously. She wanted to extend the line to catch big fish, so she would give them some benefits first. Very well. Let's exchange the essence restoration grass and that human first. As for Miss Lung's other condition, I have to discuss it with the elders. Long Hao said amiably and sincerely. Stinky Dragon, you really know how to take advantage of others, don't you? My master is exchanging her subordinate for your third elder. This has nothing to do with the deal, right? Fengzhan said with contempt and ridicule. How am I taking advantage of her? Didn't we agree on this beforehand? Long Hao retorted awkwardly with a hot face. It's okay. Lung Ruoxue smiled generously. If she didn't let these petty dragons take advantage of her first, how could they take the bait? Hee hee, anyone who dared to take advantage of her had to pay the price. You stupid bird, look at how generous Miss Lung is. No wonder she can become your master. Long Hao provoked proudly. Feng Zhan rolled his eyes at him, despising him in his heart. Mississippi. Feng De was brought to the third elder's residence. Seems like you didn't suffer any physical pain. Lung Ruoxua looked at the excited Feng De with tears in his eyes. Feng Da's clothes were a little disheveled, and his face a little haggard, but he was in a better condition than she had imagined. Chapter 237. To play the long game too? Yeah, Feng De answered. He didn't suffer any physical pain. All he suffered was mental pain. Ooh. Third elder? Haha. Suddenly, Feng De saw a middle-aged man covered in leaves and blooming with countless pink flowers. He was stunned, and then he laughed hysterically. Third elder, you met with such fate too. Feng De circled him a few times, then stopped in front of him and tugged at a little flower on his body. Huh, it's actually real? How did Miss do it? She's really amazing. The third elder snorted and looked up at the sky without even looking at Feng De. Third elder, I really want to beat you up. But seeing how beautiful you are now, I really can't bear to do it. Alas, am magnanimous, so I'll forgive you. Feng De said with a smile. Another snort came. Miss Lung, this is the essence restoration grass you wanted. Long Hao handed Lung Ruoxua a few blades of emerald green grass. Thank you. This is yours. Lung Ruoxua put the essence restoration grass in her storage ring, looked at the expectant Long Hao, and gave him a ring. Dragon Emperor, come to the Phoenix clan to look for me after you have discussed the last condition. However, I won't stay in the Phoenix clan for too long, Lung Ruoxua said to Long Hao. Okay, we will give Miss Lung an answer as soon as possible, Long Hao said quickly. Let's go. Lung Ruoxua said to Feng Zhan and Feng De. The two of them nodded, and were about to leave with Lung Ruoxua when Long Hao stopped them. Lung Ruoxua looked at Long Hao doubtfully, her face full of question marks. Miss Lung, please untie the third elder. Long Hao asked helplessly. You can't untie it. You have to follow the laws of nature. Lung Ruoxua walked past Long Hao and left. Father, I'm leaving too. I'll come back to see you, Huao quickly said to the third elder when he saw his master leaving. Oh, Dragon Emperor, what should I do? The third elder asked anxiously as he looked at his son's disappearing figure, and then at himself. I don't have a choice. You should just follow the laws of nature. Long Hao held in his laughter, comforted him helplessly, and then walked away. Miss, what are the laws of nature? Feng De asked curiously on the way back to the Phoenix clan. Think about it yourself, Lung Ruoxua said lightly. How stupid. I can't think of anything. Feng De looked at Lung Ruoxua pitifully with a bitter face. How can I have such a stupid subordinate like you? Lung Ruoxua said in disappointment. I know. The laws of nature are the laws of nature. Inflame flew to Feng Da's side. Whether it's animals, plants, or humans, in short, all species must abide by the laws of nature. Inflame explained. He was a wood spirit vermilion bird, so no one knew more about nature than him. Oh. Although Feng De still didn't know much, he pretended to understand in order not to be despised by his young lady. Boo-hoo, this little bird really brought him down hard. Little sister Ruoxua, why did you let those stinky dragons take advantage of us? Feng Linger, who had been silent, asked in puzzlement, feeling very uncomfortable. To play the long game, of course, Lung Ruoxua explained with a light smile. Master, do you mean that the dragon clan will agree to that condition? Feng Miao asked with some uncertainty. They had studied outside for a long time just now, but they didn't understand why their master wanted to show weakness. After all, with their Phoenix clan's strength, they were not afraid of the dragon clan at all. Yes, I can advance holy beasts. This bait is big enough, Lung Ruoxua said confidently. Probably no beast could refuse such a condition. Master, our Phoenix clan also has many level 9 holy beasts, Feng Zhan reminded. If all those members of the Phoenix clan could advance to divine beast, how formidable would this force be? I've got it ready. Lung Ruoxua took out a jade bottle and handed it to Feng Zhan. How could she forget her own beasts? Thank you, Master. I will arrange for their advancement when we get back. Feng Zhan said with an excited expression on his face as he hurriedly accepted the jade bottle and put it away. No rush. Wait for me to finish refining the essence restoration pill before letting them advance. Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. In comparison, her brother's matter was more important. After waiting for so long, her genius brother could finally recover. Feng Zhan nodded shyly. He was being a little hasty. Back at the Phoenix clan, Lung Ruoxue brought Feng De, her grandfather, and the others into the Heaven and Earth bracelet and went straight into the purple bamboo house. Where is this? Feng De murmured in a daze as he stood foolishly in the space. It's so beautiful here. Captain, Lin Yuan shouted as he dashed to Feng De. Lin Yuan, why are you here? Feng De asked in surprise. And us? Everyone emerged from hiding. Feng De was startled by everyone, and after reacting he couldn't help asking curiously. Huh? What's going on? Captain, listen to me tell you slowly. Lin Yuan pulled Feng De to the side and told him everything that had happened during this period of time. While they were chatting, the idle old man walked to Lung Qingtian and Lin Liang curiously. Hey, what are you two doing? Old man asked curiously. These two old fellows were staring at the purple bamboo house without blinking. What was the use? Could they get anything out of doing so? Go away and play somewhere else. Lung Qingtian waved his hand as if he was shooing away a fly. That's right. Don't cause trouble. Ruoxue is concocting pills. Lin Liang was in no mood to joke with old man. He was so nervous that his heart was about to jump out of his throat. This was a big matter related to his precious disciple. Calm down. Isn't it just alchemy? Is there a need for you all to be so paranoid? Old man said helplessly. Alas, they are really blinded by concern. Chapter 238. To play the long game 3. Compared to the nervousness of the two outside, Lung Ruoxue was very calm in the purple bamboo house. After entering the alchemy room, she was in no hurry to start concocting immediately, but instead took out the pill formula. The level of the essence restoration pill was not high, and it was not difficult for her. But she still looked at it several times to prevent herself from missing anything to err on the safe side. Then Lung Ruoxue took out the medicinal herb she had prepared long ago, took out the alchemy furnace, and officially began concocting. After lighting the pill furnace and preheating it, Lung Ruoxue placed the medicinal herbs into the pill furnace in order. After the medicinal herbs melted and turned into liquid, she began to purify and condense the pills. After she completed the last step, the unique fragrance of the pills slowly spread out from the furnace. Lung Ruoxue opened the furnace, took out more than a dozen translucent, round pearl-like silver-white pills, and put them in a special jade bottle. After concocting the essence restoration pills, Lung Ruoxue immediately left with the pills. After exiting the purple bamboo house, Lung Ruoxue saw two pairs of shining eyes looking at her anxiously, their faces nervous and expectant. Seeing the two grandpas' expressions, Lung Ruoxue couldn't help laughing. It was a success. Lung Ruoxue said directly to the two without beating around the bush. Lung Qingtian and Lin Liang sighed in relief. Qingju asked Big Brother to come out. Lung Ruoxue said to Qingju, who was not far away. Qingju actually sacrificed her big brother's beauty in order to lock up that perverted butterfly. Alas! Okay. Qingju waved his fair and tender little hand, and Lung Ruhan appeared in front of everyone. Of course, the perverted butterfly was with him. Humph. Finally willing to let me out? I was bored to death. Fortunately, there was a stunningly beautiful man accompanying me. The butterfly complained as soon as it left the prison. Shut up. Lung Ruoxue hollered. The shining butterfly flapped its wings, flew in front of Lung Ruoxue, and persuaded her earnestly. Girl, be gentle, be gentle. Get lost. Lung Ruoxue roared. She didn't want to see this abnormal butterfly. Girl. The butterfly looked at Lung Ruoxue with tears in its little black eyes, full of grievance. Lil Purple, come back, Lung Ruhan said softly. His clear and pure bright eyes were full of helplessness. Okay. The butterfly flew back obediently to Lung Ruhan's side unwillingly. Did Big Brother subdue this butterfly? Lung Ruoxue couldn't help becoming curious after seeing how obedient the butterfly was to Lung Ruhan. Big Brother, I've successfully concocted the essence restoration pill. You can recover your spiritual power, Lung Ruoxue said happily while looking at her excellent brother. As for the butterfly, she would leave the matter for another time. Swear thank you. Lung Ruhan's face was unusually calm, but his voice was trembling, revealing his nervousness. Big Brother, reconstructing your meridians might hurt a little. You have to bear with it. Lung Ruoxue reminded as she handed him an essence restoration pill. Okay. Lung Ruhan nodded. His beautiful face was resolute as he walked toward his residence. After a while, painful groans sounded from Lung Ruhan's room. Lung Ruoxue and the others, who were guarding outside the house, felt their hearts wrench upon hearing this. Swear, Ruhan has been in there for so long. Why isn't he better yet? Lung Qingtian paced back and forth anxiously. Grandpa, reconstructing meridians is a very slow process. Don't worry. Lung Ruoxue comforted. In fact, she was quite nervous. But others couldn't help with this kind of thing, and they could only rely on her brother. Yes, all of you are too nervous. Calm down. Old man advised helplessly. 2 hours later, the door of the house opened, and Lung Ruhan emerged. The smile on his face was incomparably dazzling, stunning everyone present, even though he looked disheveled. Big Brother. Lung Ruoxue threw herself into Lung Ruhan's arms excitedly. She knew that her brother had succeeded. Swear, Big Brother can protect you again in the future. Lung Ruhan hugged his baby sister happily. He could finally cultivate again. This feeling was really great. Lung Ruoxue nodded and then said mischievously, yes, but I still prefer the feeling of protecting Big Brother. You don't have to fight. Grandpa needs protection the most. Come and protect Grandpa. Lung Qingtian couldn't help joking when he saw that his grandson had finally recovered. Disciple Master also needs protection, Lin Liang added playfully. Hey, do you two not know shame? I'm getting goosebumps. Don't discuss me here. Old man jumped in and accused them before the siblings could say anything. It's none of your business. Lung Qingtian and Lin Liang said in unison while rolling their eyes at Old Man. Hee, Big Brother, let's ignore them and talk outside. Lung Ruoxue whispered to Lung Ruhan while the 3 old men were arguing again. Okay. Lung Ruhan nodded. As a 24-hour-day filial elder brother, he naturally had to listen to his little sister. Lung Ruoxue left the heaven and earth bracelet with Lung Ruhan and appeared in her room. Big White, quickly come out and acknowledge your master. Lung Ruoxue called out to the space. The beast she had prepared for her brother had finally come in handy. We're here. Big White's entire family appeared in front of them. During their time in the space, Big White and his wife had both advanced to level 8 Holy Beast while their cubs also grew a lot. Establish the contract. Lung Ruoxue said to Big White. The male white tiger nodded his large head and took the lead in establishing a soul contract. Following that, his wife and children also established soul contracts with Lung Ruhan. The contract arrays descended almost simultaneously, and after they disappeared, the contracts were formally established. Big White, you can go back now. Lung Ruoxue sent their entire family back into the bracelet. Chapter 239. To play the long game for Big Brother, it'll get you a few more dragons to contract in a few days, Lung Ruoxue said. Those dragons were a little ugly, but they were pretty strong and usable. Swear, Big White and his family are enough for me. Lung Ruhan smiled, his face full of satisfaction. They are not divine beasts yet. Big Brother has to have a divine beast no matter what. Lung Ruoxue said very seriously. Their opponents would become stronger and stronger in the future, so the strength of their beasts was extremely important. Okay, Big Brother will listen to Swear, Lung Ruhan said helplessly, his face full of affection. Swear, you naughty girl, where did you go? Lung Qingshan's angry roar suddenly appeared in Lung Ruoxue's mind. Haha, Big Brother, Grandpa and the others finally realized that we left. Lung Ruoxue smiled happily. Get the 3 old men to come out as well, lest they be too anxious. Lung Ruhan said very kindly with a similarly happy smile on his face. Okay, Grandpa, come out. Lung Ruoxue said to the few anxious old men in the space. Swear, you naughty girl. Lung Qingtian glared at his granddaughter with wide eyes, wanting to bore a hole through her. That's right. Ruoxue, how could you abandon us? Lin Liang said with a sad face. Stop acting. I won't fall for it. Lung Ruoxue steeled herself and turned her face away. Alas, we are old and despised by the little girl. Old man said sadly with a heavy sigh. Stop. Okay, I'm afraid of you. What do you want? Tell me. Lung Ruoxue raised her hands in surrender. She was impressed by these 3 old men. They would stop at nothing until they achieved their goal. Swear, Ruhan's injuries have healed. Shouldn't we celebrate? Lung Qingtian probed, his face full of anticipation. How do you want to celebrate, Grandpa? Lung Ruoxue asked, pretending not to understand. She knew that these old men were greedy. Ruoxue, do you still have python meat? Lin Liang asked as he swallowed his saliva gently. Do you want to eat it? Yes, yes. 3 pairs of expectant eyes stared at Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue stopped teasing them and said straightforwardly, Then let's go out and eat. Okay. The 3 old men had no objections. As long as they could eat, the location was not important. Lung Ruoxue sent them back into the heaven and earth bracelet, and then left the wooden house. After arriving at the valley where she had advanced last time, Lung Ruoxue released everyone and the beasts from the bracelet. Feng De walked to Lung Ruoxue and said as if he was presenting a treasure, Miss, I have another python here. Just right. There are so many people and beasts, so I was thinking it might not be enough. Lung Ruoxue gave Feng De some instructions, and then entered the bracelet. Qingju, where's the little mink? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. He's guarding the fire lotus. After hearing what Qingju said, Lung Ruoxue went to the field where the fire lotus was planted. As expected, she saw the little silver mink lying motionlessly in front of the fire lotus. Seeing this, she felt a little uncomfortable. Doesn't this little mink like to stick to me the most? Is this fire lotus female? Little mink, what are you doing here? Lung Ruoxue questioned in annoyance. Swear, you're here. The little silver mink looked up at Lung Ruoxue, and then lowered his little head to stare at the fire lotus. Do you intend to stay here forever? Lung Ruoxue said with some jealousy, but she didn't even realize in the slightest that she was jealous of the fire lotus. It's very important, the little silver mink whispered while praying in his heart. Grow up quickly. As long as it could grow into a 1,000-year-old fire lotus, he would be able to revive. It is very important, but you don't have to stay here. Qingju will take care of it. Lung Ruoxue suppressed her anger. Of course, she knew how important the fire lotus was. But for some reason, seeing this little mink guarding this place made her uncomfortable. Swear, what's wrong? The little silver mink was puzzled. Why is Swear angry? You are not allowed to stay here, Lung Ruoxue ordered as she picked up the little mink lying on the ground. Oh, the little silver mink answered softly. Boo. Does Swear dislike me? His imagination began to run wild again. Lung Ruoxue left the bracelet with the little mink in her arms. After going out, she saw that everyone was almost ready. Miss, this is for you. Feng De handed Lung Ruoxue a piece of cleaned meat. Thank you. Lung Ruoxue sat on the ground with the little mink in her arms, and began grilling the meat on the fire. Big sister, baby wants to eat too, baby said coquettishly while snuggling up to Lung Ruoxue. It's not done yet. Don't worry, Lung Ruoxue coaxed. She gently caressed baby's soft fur and sighed in her heart. Why are my beasts so cute? After she grilled the meat, she distributed the meat to the mink and baby. Be careful. It's hot, Lung Ruoxue quickly reminded baby as she watched him wolf down the food. Why aren't you eating? Lung Ruoxue turned her gaze to the little mink in her arms. I want you to feed me. The little silver mink pouted his pink lips and acted coquettishly. But he kept repeating to himself in his heart, Swear won't hate me. She won't. Open your mouth. Lung Ruoxue helplessly tore off a small piece of meat and brought it to the little mink's mouth to coax him. It smells so good. The little silver mink licked his lips happily and rubbed his fluffy little face against Lung Ruoxia's beautiful face in satisfaction. Lung Ruoxia rubbed the little mink's soft fur. When she saw the little thing's satisfied expression, her depressed mood just now was swept away. Everyone sat together happily. After they had their fill, Lung Ruoxia sent them all back to the Heaven and Earth bracelet, and returned to the Phoenix clan's territory alone. After returning to the Phoenix clan, Lung Ruoxia went straight to Fengzhan. Chapter 240. To play the long game 5. Master, why are you here? Fengzhan asked curiously. Shouldn't Master be concocting pills right now? Fengzhan, go and tell them to advance, Lung Ruoxia said directly. After all those members of the Phoenix clan advanced to Divine Beast, she would be ready to leave a few days later. I'll inform them immediately, Fengzhan said happily. He disappeared in the blink of an eye. Dragon Island. In the main hall, Long Hao was sitting on the throne. Below him were the 10 elders of the Dragon clan, including the 3rd elder with flowers all over his body. You already know what happened. Tell me your thoughts. Long Hao's sharp golden eyes scanned the elders sitting below him. Your Majesty, we dragons are born noble, so how can we be commanded by humans? The 7th elder spoke first, his wrinkled face full of disapproval. Does anyone have a different opinion? Long Hao's golden eyes narrowed. He had already expected the reaction of the 7th elder, so he was not surprised that the old man would object. A little old man with white hair stood up and said, Your Majesty, if that Lung Ruoxia can really help our clan advance, it won't be a loss to acknowledge her as our master. 2nd elder, you are mistaken. The 7th elder hurriedly stood up to object when he heard the little old man. 7th elder, calm down and let 2nd elder finish speaking, Long Hao interrupted. But he was thinking in his heart that he had almost made the necessary arrangements, and he couldn't let this stubborn old man spoil the plans. Your Majesty, elders, please listen to me. Although Lung Ruoxia is only a human, she has pills that can advance holy beasts to divine beasts. Everyone should know very well how difficult it is to advance to divine beast. Moreover, the Phoenix King has already acknowledged her as his master. I believe that the strength of the Phoenix clan will soon surpass ours. Do you want to see that happen? The 2nd elder said loudly with his blood boiling. He mentioned the Phoenix clan because he knew that these elders would not want to see the Phoenix clan become stronger than them. I think 2nd elder makes sense, the other elders agreed. Although dragons and phoenixes were not arch-enemies, they were definitely not friends. In fact, the animosity between the two races had existed for a long time. Therefore, they would always start fighting whenever the two races met. Who knows if Lung Ruoxia really has that kind of medicinal pill in her hand? The 7th elder said with a face full of disbelief. Hua Ao tested it himself. How can it be fake? Moreover, he said it himself. The 2nd elder said hurriedly. What he implied was that even if you didn't believe in humans, shouldn't you believe in your own people? He has already acknowledged a human as his master, so of course he will speak up for humans. The 7th elder snorted and quibbled. Anyway, he just didn't agree. 7th elder, what's the meaning of this? Could it be that you think my son is lying? The 3rd elder questioned with a displeased face. His son finally became successful, but he was still being doubted. How unreasonable. I didn't mean that, the 7th elder quickly denied. He didn't want to provoke this violent dragon. Stop arguing. We must discuss this matter over a long period of time. Let's wait and see first. The 1st elder, who had not said a word all this while, said resolutely. After the 1st elder spoke, none of the elders dared to speak anymore. Alas! Just a little more. Long Hao was depressed. The 1st elder had a high status in the Dragon clan, and had watched him grow up. So he didn't dare to force it if the 1st elder did not agree. But there was still hope since the 1st elder didn't refuse outrightly. At the same time, the sky outside the hall suddenly became incomparably dazzling, and lights flashed non-stop. Long Hao and the others hurriedly ran out of the hall. Your Majesty, these are the heaven and earth laws for advancement. The the second elder said as he looked up at the sky. Heaven and earth laws had been descending all the time recently, but they hadn't been able to identify it the previous few times. This time, the place where the heaven and earth laws descended was clearly the territory of the Phoenix clan. Damn it! Those damn birds are actually advancing. Long Hao felt resentful as he looked at the heaven and earth laws descending from the sky. He turned around and returned to the main hall with a huff. Your Majesty, it's as I expected, the second elder said with a face full of realization. Do you have anything else to say, seventh elder? Long Hao asked furiously. The tough and stubborn seventh elder stammered a little in the face of reality. Your Majesty, if there is anyone in the dragon clan who wants to acknowledge humans as their masters, let them go, the first elder said. He didn't want to see the emperor vent all his anger on the elders. Second elder, I'll leave this matter to you. Long Hao ordered the second elder directly. He was waiting for the first elder to say this. Your Majesty, don't worry. I will definitely settle this matter, the second elder hurriedly said. This was a good task. He wondered what else that little girl had. He also wanted to exchange some stuff. The Phoenix clan's territory. The members of the Phoenix clan who had just become divine beasts crowded around Lung Ruoxua with gratitude on their faces. Big sister, Inflame also wants to become a divine beast. Inflame flew around Lung Ruoxua and kept shouting. Inflame, you're not an adult yet. Lung Ruoxua caressed Inflame's little head to calm him. When will I become an adult? Boo-hoo. Inflame, don't make a fuss. Fengzhan gently reprimanded and grabbed the noisy little fellow into his embrace. Fengzhan, I'm going back. Lung Ruoxua smiled at Fengzhan. With that, she walked toward her residence. She had just gained so many benefits, so she had to go back and consolidate them. Lung Ruoxua returned to the wooden house, entered her room, and went directly into the heaven and earth bracelet. Swear, the scene just now was really spectacular. Lung Qingtian couldn't help saying when he saw his precious granddaughter. Yes, now that all those members of the Phoenix clan have advanced to divine beast, let's leave this place after the dragons of the dragon clan come. Grandpa, Lung Ruoxua said after some thought. Chapter 241, Greedy Dragon Clan Ideological Education 1. Okay, but will the dragons of the dragon clan come? Lung Qingtian was a little worried. It seemed that those dragons despised humans. The advancements just now can't be hidden from the dragon clan. Those dragons should be anxious, so there will definitely be dragons coming to me. Lung Ruoxua said with certainty, but she didn't know how many there would be. Grandpa, what about Big Brother and the others? Lung Ruoxua asked. Ruhan, Fengda, and the others have all gone into seclusion. They said they wanted to cultivate diligently, Lung Qingtian explained. After leaving the Phoenix clan, the three old men also planned to go into seclusion to avoid dragging his granddaughter down in the future. Oh, Grandpa, I'll go and consolidate my cultivation. Lung Ruoxua nodded and walked toward the purple bamboo house. Where's little girl? Old man, who was gnawing on a spirit fruit in his hand, suddenly appeared beside Lung Qingtian and asked curiously. He clearly heard the girl's voice just now. Shuer went to cultivate. Why do you only know how to eat all day long? Lung Qingtian said with a headache. This old man wasn't like this before. Why did he seem like a different person now? I'm also doing this for cultivation. These spirit fruits are full of spiritual power, and I can't enter seclusion now, so I can only eat them. Anyway, there are so many of them on the trees that I can't finish them all. Old man explained, implying that he shouldn't be so stingy. Yes. What old man said is very reasonable. Now we can only rely on these spirit fruits to increase our spiritual power. Lin Liang also held a fruit in his hand and agreed very much. Well said. In fact, you two are just gluttons. Lung Qingtian bluntly exposed the two of them. Then he snorted and went to pick a fruit from a tree. After consolidating her cultivation, Lung Ruoxua emerged from the purple bamboo house and saw the three old men eating spirit fruits in competition. Cold sweat dripped down her forehead. Are they really that bored? Without disturbing them, Lung Ruoxue quietly left the bracelet with the little mink. Shuer, where are we going? The little silver mink asked curiously when he saw Shuer carrying him out of the wooden house. Out for a walk. Lung Ruoxue brought the little mink to the sea, sat on a boulder on the beach, and basked in the sea breeze. Oh, it feels pretty good. Ruoxue. A voice sounded from behind her. Lung Ruoxue turned around and saw Huiqing standing not far away, looking at her. Why are you here? There are many sea beasts here. I'm not afraid, Huiqing said calmly. Alas, he hadn't seen Ruoxue since he came here. Thinking of this, he couldn't help feeling a little disappointed. Oh, how's the situation with your Hua family? Lung Ruoxue asked tentatively. She had never had the chance to chat with Huiqing, so she wasn't very clear about his family's situation. But the incident could be considered to be caused by her, so she still felt somewhat guilty toward Huiqing. I'm not sure either. Some died, some were injured, and some escaped. The Hua family no longer exists, Huiqing said indifferently, his expression unreadable. Actually, I was the one who destroyed the Su family, so I'm also responsible for this matter, Lung Ruoxue said after some hesitation. I know. The Su family has always been ambitious. Even if it weren't for you, they would have dominated the entire Lingfeng continent sooner or later. You just brought this matter forward, Huiqing said calmly. In fact, he knew very well that he could not entirely blame Ruoxue for this matter. His father had been too greedy. Yes, the Su family is indeed a big problem. By the way, why were you together with Mu Li? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. These two shouldn't be related, right? I met him on the road. I was chased by those people, and he saved me, so I came with him, Huiqing explained simply. Then what are your plans for the future? We'll be leaving in a few days, Lung Ruoxue said. This was also considered informing him in advance. I don't know either. Huiqing lowered his head in disappointment. He really didn't know where he could go. Then stay with us for now. Leave after you find the Hua family, Lung Ruoxue said helplessly after thinking about it for a while. Alas, she really couldn't chase Huiqing away while he was in this state. Thank you. Huiqing raised his head happily. He had already felt out of place during the past few days he was with them. So in fact, he was already mentally prepared to leave them at any time. But he didn't expect Ruoxue to want him to stay. Even though it was only temporary, he was already very happy. He was happy, but the little mink in Lung Ruoxue's arms was unhappy. His beautiful blue eyes stared fiercely at Huiqing, wanting to glare him to death. Huiqing ignored the little mink's angry gaze and asked, Ruoxue, when are we leaving? In a week at most. The fire attribute's spiritual power here is very strong. Take advantage of these few days to absorb more of it. This opportunity is very rare, Lung Ruoxue reminded. This place was extremely suitable for fire attribute cultivators to cultivate. Yes, I've been absorbing it the whole time, Huiqing said. His greatest wish now was to increase his strength quickly, so he definitely wouldn't let go of such a good opportunity. Let's go back. I have to find the Phoenix King and talk with him, Lung Ruoxue said after looking at the time. Huiqing nodded, and the two of them walked back to the Phoenix clan's territory. I'm going to see the Phoenix King. You should go back and rest. Okay, Huiqing replied and walked toward the wooden house. Lung Ruoxue headed straight for the Phoenix King's resting palace. Master. Fengzhan was surprised to see Lung Ruoxue looking for him again so quickly. Fengzhan, I plan to leave the Phoenix clan in a few days. Lung Ruoxue stated her intentions clearly. What? Then what should we do? Fengzhan was shocked. When his master was in the Dragon clan, she said that she would be leaving in a few days. At that time, he thought that she was just scaring those dragons. He didn't expect that she was really leaving. Are we going to enter Master's spirit beast space? But there are no sycamore trees there, so it isn't suitable for our Phoenix clan to cultivate. Of course you have to leave with me. Do you want to stay here? Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. Chapter 242, Greedy Dragon Clan, Ideological Education, 2. Master, I mean that our Phoenix clan needs sycamore trees, and there are none in the spirit beast space, Feng Zhan explained after a pause. That's why I came to find you. Come with me. With a thought, Lung Ruoxue entered the heaven and earth bracelet with Feng Zhan. Master, where is this place? The spiritual energy here is so dense. Feng Zhan looked at the beautiful scenery in front of him, and his jaw almost dropped to the ground in surprise. This is my space. You will live here from now on. As for the sycamore trees, you can move them in, Lung Ruoxue said to the slightly dazed Feng Zhan. How is it? Are you satisfied with this place? Lung Ruoxue asked when she saw that Feng Zhan didn't react for a long time. Yes, satisfied. Very satisfied. Feng Zhan hurriedly said when he came to his senses. His phoenix eyes looked around unblinkingly. Wow. This place is too beautiful. He couldn't look away. It's good that you are satisfied. Go and tell your clan to pack up and prepare to move. Lung Ruoxue directly ordered. Master, can we eat those fruits on the trees? Feng Zhan looked at the spirit fruits hanging on the branches and almost drooled. He really didn't expect his master to have so many spirit fruits. Wow. This is so blissful. Lung Ruoxue nodded and then warned. Yes, but don't waste them. I promise we won't. Feng Zhan immediately raised a hand to assure her. His absolutely beautiful face was about to bloom with a smile. Okay. Feng Zhan, get your clan to pack up but only move a portion of them first. The others will move in when we leave. Lung Ruoxue said after some thought with a frown. Master, don't worry. I'll handle it. After settling the matter with the Phoenix clan, Lung Ruoxue brought Feng Zhan out of the bracelet and returned to the wooden house. Big brother Feng, why aren't you asleep yet? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously when she saw Feng Moran sitting in the living room. I'm waiting for you. Swear, are we leaving the Phoenix clan? Feng Moran asked directly. Yes, we will leave after the transaction with the Dragon Emperor, Lung Ruoxue explained. Okay. Big brother Feng, just tell me what you want to say, Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. What is so difficult for you to say? Swear, have you thought about what Grandpa said a few days ago? Feng Moran asked curiously. No, Patriarch Feng must be joking. Lung Ruoxue said honestly. The Feng family was different from Old Man. After all, Old Man had gone through thick and thin with them, so she had a higher level of trust in him. But she didn't know anyone in the Feng family well other than the two brothers, so the ally relationship was enough for her. Swear, Grandpa wasn't joking. So please consider it if there's a chance. Feng Moran suggested. His selfish hope was that the Feng family could have a deeper relationship with Swear. After all, there were only a few people left in the Feng family, and he couldn't watch helplessly as his only relatives fell into danger. Following Swear was the best choice. Okay, I will consider it, Lung Ruoxue replied. She might not take other people's words seriously, but she couldn't ignore Big Brother Feng's words. After Lung Ruoxue and Feng Moran finished chatting, they returned to their respective rooms to rest. The next day, Lung Ruoxue found time to go directly to the patriarch and first elder of the Feng family. After a round of secret talks with them, she officially took the Feng family under her wing. No one even knew what the three of them talked about. After settling the matter, Lung Ruoxue brought the two of them into the Heaven and Earth bracelet. This place is. The two old men were stunned when they saw the scene in front of them. This is my space. Aoran is in that room. Go and see him. Lung Ruoxue said to the two. Oh. The two people reacted and walked toward the bamboo house that Lung Ruoxue mentioned while observing the scenery in front of them. Lung Qingtian came to his granddaughter's side and said with disapproval. Swear, why did you bring them in? Grandpa, they are one of us now, Lung Ruoxue explained. She blocked communications with the bracelet just now, so her grandfather didn't know that she had already taken in the Feng family. One of us. Can they be trusted? Lung Qingtian was a little skeptical. Those aristocratic families had worked hard for their own families all their lives, so how could they become loyal to others so easily? Yes, they have signed a bloodline contract from the heaven-defying art, Lung Ruoxue explained. The overbearing aspect of this bloodline contract was that any descendant related to them would be bound by the contract as long as it was their bloodline, be it main or side branches. That's good. Lung Qingtian was relieved. He didn't want his granddaughter to be in any danger. At this moment, Qingju appeared in front of Lung Ruoxue and reminded, Big sister, the Phoenix King is here to see you. Got it. Grandpa, I'm leaving first. After saying goodbye to Lung Qingtian, Lung Ruoxue immediately left the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Fengzhan, why are you here? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. Master, we've already packed up, Fengzhan said a little impatiently. He hadn't slept for the entire night yesterday. After leaving the space, he had immediately ordered his clan to pack up. So fast. Lung Ruoxue was a little surprised. Fengzhan's work efficiency is quite high. Yes, everyone wants to move to their new home as soon as possible, Fengzhan explained. He wanted to too, but he knew that he had to stay outside for the time being. Boo. Then let's go. Lung Ruoxue smiled lightly and left the wooden house with Fengzhan. After 4 hours of work, Lung Ruoxue sent 2/3 of the Phoenix clan into the Heaven and Earth bracelet. Qingju, give them a place to live. Lung Ruoxue ordered in the bracelet. Don't worry, big sister. I've already arranged everything, Qingju said understandingly. He had been preparing it since his big sister accepted the Phoenix clan. Very good, Lung Ruoxue praised. She picked Qingju up and pinched his tender little face. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.